Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of Tru Offseason. Don't adjust your dials. It is us starting at an early time today, at a special time today, because we wanted to make sure we bring all of this fun content to you guys as we discuss here the NFC and AFC East. And when, of course, I say us and discuss, you know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about myself. I'm talking about Chase Oliver. And Chase, how are you doing this fine Thursday afternoon? Normally I'm saying evening, but this afternoon. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. Excited to talk about the AFC East. Get to watch the Hall of Fame game later.
That's right, your Chargers.
My Chargers get to watch some Trey Lance football, some DJ Ugadagaga football. I'm excited, man.
Yeah, we finally got football, and I'm excited to watch even third and fourth stringers. Let's get started.
It's so terrible. Like CFL and the UFL exist, and they're playing games and stuff, and we just don't give a shit. And
I did watch the UFL championship game.
It was horrible. It was a blowout.
It looked like slightly competitive for the first a half or so, and then it got really out of hand. And I was like, okay, this is bad.
The team that had like the MVP of the UFL got their ass kicked. I was like,
I was like, all right, well, I mean, that's happened before. You know, we've had a MVP for the season lose in the Super Bowl. When was the last time that happened?
Peyton Manning?
I think no, before it would have been the year after, 2 years after that. Cam Newton.
Cam Newton. Yeah, Cam Newton got his ass kicked by the Broncos defense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did Mahomes win MVP when he lost that one Super Bowl against Tampa? Was that an MVP season, or was that Lamar?
I think that was Lamar. I think that was Lamar's first MVP.
Oh, okay, yeah, because I couldn't remember if Mahomes was MVP when he lost to Tampa Bay.
Yeah, but there's a chance that one of the teams we're talking about here, one of these 8 teams, one of them has a now former MVP coming off of his MVP campaign. Another one has somebody who won Rookie of the Year last year and could be positioned for an MVP campaign this year. There's a lot to talk about. So let's figure this out. First, which division do you want to go with? Do you want to go with NFC East first or AFC East first?
Man, let's get the AFC East out of here. The NFC East, there's so much juicy stuff, man. The AFC East, this could be a speed run for most of it. To be honest,
that is fair. A lot of it is similar to how it was last year. So with that in mind, let's take a quick look and talk about what happened last year. And last year we had the New England Patriots coming in 4-13, the New York Jets coming in 5-12, Miami coming in 8-9, and then the division winners consecutively 5 consecutive division championships, the Buffalo Bills. They're on their way to trying to rival that Patriots dominance, because from 2009 to 2019, the New England Patriots were the division champs in the AFC East. Then there was a slight hiccup in 2008 when Miami won, and then there was 5 back-to-back division championships for New England before that. So Buffalo is halfway to the New England division dominance, we'll say. They have definitely not achieved the total league dominance, because in that time, New England won 3 Super Bowls, and Buffalo has won 0 Super Bowls. But, there's always time to turn the corner, because for New England, when they won those Super Bowls, that was all in the back half of that 10-year division championship run. Are we going to see something like that for the Buffalo Bills? But before we talk about the Bills, let's talk about those guys that ended up in last place, and that was the New England Patriots. The Patriots really had
weird to say them in last place. Right? It's like for years they've been like the powerhouse, like the Alabama, the Yankees of like our sport of football, and it's just like last place Patriots. It's like the Patriot way. What happened?
Sometimes that's what you got to do when you finally rebuild, and you have to have these kind of back-to-back disgusting seasons. And for a fan base that has been rewarded so often with satisfaction of winning Super Bowls, or at least making the playoffs, going far in the playoffs, right? Sometimes you have to learn what it's like to lose again, and there is something to be said for learning what it's like to lose. And this team, this squad, after these years, they definitely have learned what it's like to lose. The question is going to be with Drake May, can they learn what it's like to win? And so let's take a look at this year's New England Patriots roster. And you see a bunch of new names. The biggest two that stand out on offense would be Stephon Diggs and Will Campbell. For me, I know Ramondre Stevenson probably doesn't have the strongest hold on the starting running back job. They did draft Travion Henderson, one of the OSU standout running backs, this past May in the draft. But at least for right now, Ramondre has the RB1 bell cow spot. And hey, he puts the ball on the ground a few times like he did last year, and I'm sure that it'll soon be Travion Henderson time. But from an offensive standpoint, you got to think from an offense that last year really suffered from a lack of playmakers and people who were there to just catch anything, whether it was from Jacoby Brissett or from Drake May. Yes, they had the Hunter Henrys of the world, but this was a situation where they tried and they swung and kind of missed on Jalen Polk and Javon Baker, but they kind of open the bank a little bit and get Stephon Diggs. And I think it's a great example for a team that kind of knows that they're nowhere near competition yet, but they are kind of in position to set themselves up for success. And I don't think Stephon Diggs is at all a world beater wide receiver at this point anymore. He's probably somewhere in the top, you could say, 15 wide receivers, maybe closer to the top 20 wide receivers. But what he does have is experience. And you know me, I'm always that, like, what about the veterans of the team, the experienced guys are going to be able to teach people. And if you want to really stay committed with Jalen Polk and Javon Baker, or at the very least kind of see if what they have as potentially being a wide receiver 2 or wide receiver 3, you need to have that development. And for them, having a guy like Stephon Diggs in the locker room is going to be really great. But I mean, that Will Campbell speech when he got drafted,
yeah,
that's what you want to see. You want to see a guy that you're going to be able to bring in at left tackle and with tears in his eyes is going to be talking about how he's willing to kill people and he will die to protect Drake May. Like, that's what you want. Like, that's got to be an amazing feeling for Drake May, considering he was a very highly pressured quarterback last year with how just shoddy that New England line was. And Jacoby Brissett's probably like, well, man, if I'd had that, maybe I could have done something. But from an offensive standpoint, from a defensive standpoint, I know you have a more interesting focus on defense than I do sometimes. Who are the players that kind of stand out to you from this New England Patriots squad that look like not necessarily that they're going to be able to make a difference in this season, because this is still that rebuilding period, but who do you think is kind of going to be able to set them up for success this year, next year, the year after?
Man, it's on the defense. It's that guy, Christian Gonzalez. He's a special cornerback. Getting him and making sure that he's healthy and surrounding him with good talent. He's really good. He's really good. I know a lot of people probably didn't get to see it that much because the Patriots weren't really on, but he had some really, really good games, and he's just a really good corner. And, you know, bringing in a guy like Carlton Davis, who has like a lot of veteran experience, that definitely helps out. That definitely helps out with Christian Gonzalez, because it felt like it was just him on an island a lot of times, and like a lot of big stops from them weren't coming because like they couldn't get any pressure. And, you know, they bring in a guy like Harold Landry, who's been on and off with injuries, but is familiar with Vrabel and his time in Tennessee. They drafted Braden Swinson, who I like a lot, from LSU. Another LSU guy like Will Campbell. So, like, to me, it's just like, I look at it as like, I feel the Patriots did a really good job at improving this roster and making it where they can be competitive this year in the AFC East. They can actually, you know, get people to hopefully, you know, like, I think they will be a lot more competitive. I think they're going to win, you know, like they're going to win a fair share of games they shouldn't win. And people are going to be like, oh, wow, Patriots have like 6 wins and stuff. But, you know, this first year with Vrabel, it's restoring the culture. It's you know, like what he did in Tennessee his first year. Like he made a new identity for the Tennessee Titans. Like this time it's not making a new identity. It's going back to the Patriot way. It's rebuilding, restoring what Bill Belichick made that program for the years that it was in the 2000s and the 2010s, getting back to that form. You know, like Robert Kraft brought Gerard Mayo as that guy. Mayo is just not a guy to be a head coach. Is he a guy that is well loved in the offices of the Patriots building, a Patriot legend? Absolutely. But he is not someone that should be a head coach of an NFL team. Mike Vrabel, he is the perfect Patriot guy. He is the perfect dude to, lead these teams. We've seen it with Vrabel as a head coach, leader of men. He just makes everyone better. Drake May, you want to see the improvements with him. He had a really good short rookie season for the time that we saw him. Getting a guy like Diggs, bringing in a guy like Mac Hollins in, just getting good, reliable pass catchers. Mac Hollins, he may not be the best receiver, but I know he'll catch the ball. He'll catch the ball. He may not be open, but he'll definitely will catch it. And that's the one thing that you want. You want to be able to see Drake May get a lot of completed passes, get confidence, and they rebuilt the offensive line. Sure, it's a bunch of older names like a Garrett Bradbury and a Morgan Moses, and how much left do those guys have in the tank? But much better than what they had before. That's for sure. So, yeah, I really do think that the Patriots, they're on the right path. It's just more of they have to win some games that will build the confidence. It won't be, and we got to see Drake May. Unfortunately for quarterbacks now, it's not like we can give them a lot of time. It's just more of we got to see the things now. So we got to see Drake May in year number 2, make a good leap. And what I mean, a good leap, 3,000 passing yards, 20 touchdowns, not asking for much. It's just, you want to see what he can do in these situations because he's going against, one of the AFC powerhouses twice a year, and 2 division rival games that are not easy division rival games. So,
yeah. So let's take a quick look. So last year in 13 games, 12 starts, 66.6% completion, just shy of 2,300 yards, 15 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. And then from rushing, he had 421 yards and 2 touchdowns and 9 fumbles. And this doesn't tell me how many fumbles were actually lost, but 9 fumbles in total. So yeah, I think 3,000 passing yards, if he gets it up there, that'll be a very good sign. And probably just maybe kind of tune up the interceptions a little bit. But that
a lot
of that is also on who's catching the ball too.
Yeah, a lot of his interceptions were the ones where the receivers oh shit, and then the guy caught it and stuff.
Yeah.
Or they were down late in the game and he was fuck it, and he just chucked the ball super deep, the Phil Rivers was I'm gonna find a way to get this in the end zone.
Yep. But with that in mind, and talking about Mike Vrabel being there as the head coach and the steps forward that the Patriots want to see from Drake May, let's take a look at the schedule. And it's not that terrible of a schedule. To your point, they do have to face AFC powerhouses and the Buffalo Bills. They do have a late game against the Ravens. They've got an early game against the Steelers, who we don't know how the Steelers offense is going to look, but we know that Steelers defense is going to be able to be pretty good at choking opponents. And they do have to face Tampa Bay. So I think, to me, if we're looking at this, because just like last week, we're not really doing win-loss totals or anything like that. We're kind of looking at what are the key games or what are the key moments. To me, a lot of it's going to focus on that Week 10 game at Tampa, because Tampa is one of those teams that is kind of expected to be a playoff team for the NFC, and they are expected to be a division leader. And you kind of know that the division games being what they are, they're just going to be that tough kind of slugfest that can kind of go either way. And if you are facing the Bills and it's Josh Allen doing Josh Allen things, it's going to be much harder to win, especially with how you are now. But the Tampa Bay Buccaneers probably seem a little bit more beatable than the Buffalo Bills at this point in time. So for me, at Week 10, you kind of really have that picture of what Drake May is. And you've had a healthy mix of away games. You've had a healthy mix of home games. You have had those chances to see what he can do and how he can play football and how he's going to be able to move this offense. For me, I think that Week 10 game is one of the most important. But what are the ones that kind of stand out to you as it pertains to whether or not New England can call the season a success?
Man, Week 12 at the Bengals. I think that's a big, important game. It's late in the season. It's an AFC team that, if healthy, if they can protect Joe Burrow, if Joe Burrow is healthy, it's that's a really great football team. And if you can go in at Cincinnati, hey, you beat them last year, but you're at Gillette. you can go into Cincinnati and you can beat the Bengals on their home. And Vrabel has a good history against the Cincinnati Bengals. He seems to always like to kick their ass. So that's like one of the teams where it's like, hey, stamp your mark of like, this is the team we want to try to become. We want to beat the Cincinnati Bengals. Like, I think when I look at the earlier schedule, the Pittsburgh Steelers, I wouldn't be surprised if the Patriots win that game just because they're at home. Like, I think Gillette Stadium is like a tough play. Like, a lot of players, like, for whatever reason, kickers become inept when they're in Gillette Stadium. Like, they just don't know how to kick the ball anymore. There's always something that kind of goes the Patriots' way at Gillette Stadium. So that's why the Pittsburgh game, I'm like, that's a good game. But really, to be honest, I could see them winning that game. It's still early in the season. I could see them winning that game. But the game against the Bengals, it's like, man, if we're deep in the season, and say like the Patriots are just kind of like middle of the road team and the Bengals are who we think they are, and then you go into Cincinnati and you beat the Bengals, it's like, damn, like the Vrabel's building something here. Like, this is like a good confidence booster. And then the rest of your schedule, you get the Giants, you get a nice little bye week. You get to face Buffalo at home off the bye. Maybe you still have that confidence. Baltimore, you have to travel there, and then you end the season with the Jets and Dolphins. You could end your season winning maybe like after the Bengals game, 4 out of those remaining games, 3 out of the remaining games, and that's a successful season. Like, sure, your draft pick is not going to be as high, but you don't really care about that right now. You already have the quarterback. You just want to see, like, hey, can Drake May, can he out gunsling Joe Burrow in a game? Like, can Drake May challenge one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL? Because Drake May, he's on that trajectory for a lot of people, where people think Drake May can be knocking on the door of like top 10 discussions and stuff.
And that raises an interesting question. Yeah, so Stephon Diggs' contract is a 3-year contract. Mm-hmm. So if you think that, you just need to get Stephon Diggs a little bit of help there, and I'm not saying Matt Collins is a bad wide receiver in any way, shape, or form, but it's more like, can we get somebody else in here to help Diggs do kind of what he was able to do in Minnesota? And then you will know right around the time of that Tampa Bay, the Bengals game. Well, that'll be kind of that determination. Mm-hmm. But let's turn from the New England Patriots to a team that kind of they had some things work against them last year in the New York Jets. And the Jets, it was, the prince that was promised, according to many, including one of our fellow contributors here and on the True Hill Heat main channel. Romeo was very, very happy, to say the least, when Aaron Rodgers came over and became a Jet. And we kind of all know how that went. The first year, it just was terrible because 4 snaps in and he gets injured and lost for the season. And then last year there just seemed to be, I don't know if it was necessarily communication errors or what exactly happened. Like it is just an interesting scenario of seeing 2 egos or 2 guys who are both believe they're right, butting heads in Robert Saleh and Aaron Rodgers. And of course you have that really weird ownership situation where Woody Rodgers is getting kind of more involved than probably needs to be. And the involvement that he is giving or being involved with is terrible. We're hearing things like he's determining whether or not the team should acquire someone based off of Madden ratings and things like that. Like it was just a huge issue and a mismanaged situation by a lot of people involved. But the Jets release Aaron Rodgers. They finish out the season without Robert Saleh, and in their quest for a head coach, they find Aaron Glenn, the former DC from the Detroit Lions, who have been a really great team. Not the greatest defense. They've definitely had hit or misses seasons, but they have, generally speaking, been good. And so now we have a new head coach present for the Jets, and they've got to figure out what they're going to do, not just for this year, but for the rest for the years to come. And it was Woody Johnson. I don't know why I said Woody Rodgers, but they bring in as an offensive coordinator when you want to have a defensive coordinator as head coach, who your OC becomes very important. And they bring in Tanner Engstrom. He was the passing game coordinator for the Lions from 2023 to 2024, and he'd been with the Lions previously going all the way back to 2020, but now he's going to be the full OC for the Jets. So the question there is who's going to be running his offense and who is going to be trying to run Aaron Glenn's defense. And so with that in mind, let's take a look at the new revamped New York Jets roster. And we see that they've, done some things on defense, on offense. They've brought in people. They use some draft picks to kind of get what they need. They're trying to they lose Tyler Conklin to your Chargers, right? Yeah. Chargers. They draft Mason Taylor to kind of be his replacement. Armand Membu, you and I were talking about him a lot, more you than me, during our lead up to the draft. But the real question is who is going to be behind center? And the Jets decided to get Justin Fields, which definitely was a bit of a head scratcher. Like, you could understand the idea of Justin Fields continuing to be a backup, because while he had flashes where he looked good in Pittsburgh, it didn't look like he had fully made the leap to being a starting quarterback. And after seeing a lot of what happened in Pittsburgh, and you could make the argument that, it was because of just the Pittsburgh offense being so run heavy and what they want to do and how they want to try to build it. But then you look at the Jets and you go, well, the Jets are run heavy too. And just as how the Steelers have or had George Pickens, the Jets have Garrett Wilson. So they each had or have one star wide receiver. And obviously I think most people would say that Garrett Wilson is better of a wide receiver than George Pickens. But there is a lot of similarities between what the Steelers had last year and what the Jets have this year. But what the Jets do have is a very competent and strong defense. And they're going to be leaning on that defense a lot. I think they want to play ball control offense. It's a defensive-minded head coach. And you're going to be building around the idea of what can Sauce Gardner do in this defense. And that is a situation where it's like, yes, Sauce definitely took a step back last year and had some issues. He's still ranked very highly by, different outlets like PFF and things like that. But for me, I think a lot of this is going to come down to the Jets offensive line and whether or not Breece Hall and Braylon Allen can really shoulder the load. Breece Hall definitely had a step back last year, definitely had some issues last year, and to the point that they weren't really using him as much running the ball. They were more having him be a pass catching back. And they were doing short passes and moving the ball that way. Is Breece Hall fully removed now from the injury from 2 years ago? We're going to see. But I think a lot of this is going to come down to whether or not the Jets can effectively run the ball, because that opens up the play action for Justin Fields and allows him to be that dual threat quarterback, because you don't know when he's holding the ball whether or not he's going to run or if it will be a pass. So for me, I think a lot of the questions for the Jets are going to be answered through this O-line, and that's where we turn to you and say, who are the players that you think are going to be difference makers for the Jets this year, and how do you like this O-line and how it's looking?
Yeah, I think the Jets have done a good job actually building up this O-line. Armand Membu's a beast. I was a fan of Elijah Vera Tucker coming out of college. Ola Pashanu, he didn't really get a chance to really play that much because there's other tackles there. And he when the Jets got him, people forget Ola Pashanu, he would have been a top 3 pick if he would have went to the draft when he was going to go. But he decided to go back to Penn State for one more year to actually finish his degree. And he kind of slid down draft boards, and I didn't understand because I was like, he's still really, really good and stuff. And the Jets were able to kind of get him at a good spot. So that offensive line is building up nicely, and it's filled with guys that I feel like are difference makers. But really, I do feel like on defense, we got to look at Jermaine Johnson and Will McDonald. You two got to get after the quarterback. You two got to live up to the potential of being first-round edge rushers. There's 3 positions that I'm very critical on if you're drafted in the first round: quarterbacks, left tackles. If you're a right tackle, it's fine. I give you a little bit of a pass. Left tackles and edge rushers. Corners, I understand. Sometimes cornerbacks it's a little bit harder. The speed is different. Maybe the coaches you're more of a man-to-man corner, but your coach is forcing you to play some more zone defense that you're used to and stuff. And that's a little bit of a harder position. Receivers, same thing. Maybe you're not being put in the right position. Running backs, kind of the same thing too. Maybe you're just not a fit for the offense. But quarterbacks, you're drafting them because they're difference makers in, what makes your team elite or just average. Left tackles, you're drafting them because most quarterbacks are right-handed, and that's protecting the blind side, and it's one of the most important positions in football. And then edge rushers. Why do you have the edge rushers? To get after the quarterbacks that are kicking your ass all the time. And Jermaine Johnson is a freak coming out of Florida State. Will McDonald is a freak as well. I need to see you guys produce. I need to see some sacks from you guys. Both of you guys should be getting 10 sacks each. Like, that's not a lot to ask for. 10 sacks from you guys, your talents, you should be able to get there. You got a guy like Quinnen Williams who can demand double teams at any time. And then you also bring in a guy like Jay Tuttle, who I also think is like just also kind of like a good spot person for Quinnen Williams that can also like get these double teams and stuff. Like, to me, that's where it's like, hey, on defense, help out Sauce Gardner, help out those guys that are in coverage, get after the quarterback, get some sacks. Like, you got to just get some sacks. You got to show that production. And of course, Justin Fields, look, this guy has gotten the most opportunities I've ever seen out of a quarterback in my life. You know, like he's shown the flashes. We've seen the flashes. It's just time to put up or shut up with Justin Fields. I like Justin Fields. I think he's a really great kid, really great quarterback, and like really great player.
Yeah.
Like, he's a great player. Like, I liked him in college. There's a lot of things that I like about Justin Fields, but this is your like third chance at trying to prove that, like, oh yeah, I'm as good as a Caleb Williams. Like, let's not forget, Justin Fields was highly touted coming out of college. Justin Fields was the guy that people were saying, hey, this guy is going to be a franchise quarterback. Like, Justin Fields wasn't coming out as a bum. No one was calling Justin Fields a bum. No one was saying Justin Fields.
I remember when that draft happened, that RJ was giving me shit because Denver passed on him for Surtain and was saying, like, aren't you, like, because Denver had been in need of a quarterback for how, for how long. And I was like, you know what? I'm very happy with this ridiculously talented cornerback. And then that first year happened. And I looked back to RJ and I was like, hey, I think this played out the way it needed to play out.
Like, Justin Fields was touted as one of the top quarterbacks. And unfortunately, he just didn't get a fair, like, I looked at it as Chicago wasn't playing to his strengths.
Yeah.
They just weren't. They just weren't like letting him run the football and then develop as a passer. I felt they were trying to do too much long-winded passing plays that made it harder for him. And then when he got to Pittsburgh, it was just kind of like he was on a short leash because Russell Wilson was kind of there, and it was like, well, we brought in Russell Wilson, and we have to use him. Like that was like the unfortunate thing. Now Justin Fields, like, look, Tyrod Taylor is not knocking on the door for you anytime. Like Aiden Martinez and Brady Cook, they're definitely not knocking on the door. This is your team. It's time to put up or shut up. You are with your former receiver in college, and Garrett Wilson, so there is familiarity there. You're with a guy that you're familiar throwing the football to, and Garrett Wilson. And then not only that, a guy in Breece Hall, who is also a very talented player, and Braylon Allen, who's also big. Let's not forget about Isaiah Davis. I think Isaiah Davis can actually show up and do something for them too. So you have the pieces here. Like, there are the pieces. This is probably one of the better offensive lines. Like, if Membu does end up being the right tackle that I think it could be, this is one of the better offensive lines that you're going to be behind. I just think it's put up or shut up for Justin Fields. Like, it's just one of those where it's like, just show us that you can be one of these top quarterbacks that everyone claimed that you're going to be. Like, if Justin Fields was like a second rounder or something, it's like, okay, they're just like, if Justin Fields was Joe Milton. Like, if Joe Milton was like the Jets quarterback right now, I would just be like, okay, you know, they're just throwing Joe Milton out there. They're trying to see what they have in him. But this guy is a guy that, like, people were putting on the level of a Trevor Lawrence, of a Bryce Young, of a Caleb Williams. He was that kind of guy.
And, you know, it's interesting that contract. Well, two things. One is the contract that they signed with Fields. It's a 2-year, $40 million contract with a $15 million signing bonus and $30 million in guaranteed money. So, like, he is there for this year and next year.
Yeah.
I don't see a world where they're going to cut him for after 1 year or even try to trade him, because the amount of cap hit that you would take off of that. So it really is, to your point, his team. But let me ask you this question. This is the other thing I was just thinking about, is Garrett Wilson, because you brought up the college connection. Garrett Wilson, 3 years in a row, has been a 1,000-yard receiver. 4 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns, 7. And my question to you is, do you see that streak or trend continuing with Justin Fields, who has never really been that great of a thrower?
I see it continuing just because I feel that's who Fields is going to trust the most. I think he's going to throw the ball a lot to Garrett Wilson. I think that the play designs that the passing coordinator that's coming from the Lions is coming in, he's going to treat Garrett Wilson like Amon-Ra. Like he's going to be like, you're like what Amon-Ra St. Brown was to me. Like you're not a burner, but you're one of the best route runners that I've seen in the league. Like Garrett Wilson's a tremendous route runner. Like he doesn't get much love for it. He's a tremendous route runner. The only thing that will like put Garrett Wilson down is if like the Jets are like, fuck it, let's trade for Olave while we're at it to get like the Ohio State connection back together. Well, I mean, then that would hurt. That would hurt it. Like if like,
my thing is,
another person comes in and takes cash.
Yeah, my thing is, and we kind of saw that last year with Allen Lazard, who's still on the team, and Devontae Adams to a certain extent. But it is interesting because Fields not being as great of a passer as even Aaron Rodgers is, closer to the end of his career than he is at the beginning. But even before that, they had basically straight backups in New York. Like it was Zach Wilson throwing for when Rodgers went out. And the question that I have is, can Fields be enough of a passer that it doesn't necessarily matter that the other wide receivers on the team are not that good? Meaning to say, like Garrett Wilson's ability to get away from double coverage. Because if you're telling me that Josh Reynolds and Allen Lazard are the wide receiver 2 and wide receiver 3, I'm not really fearing them as much. No. And maybe we don't know like Mason Taylor and what he's going to be and so on and so forth. And maybe he's a step up from Tyler Conklin. Sure.
He's athletically insane, but we've seen us athletically insane tight ends not pan out. Like look at Noah Fant. Like this guy was supposed to be the next great big tight end, and he hasn't. Now he's backing up Mike Gesicki and stuff. So it's like, it's more of a wait and see. And then like the thing with the receiving core, that's the only thing that kind of hurts is just like they don't really have like besides Wilson, there's no one else. Like Allen Lazard's good for like that one big catch a game. Like he's kind of like the big body, I can catch it type of receiver. Josh Reynolds, like he was reliable for the Lions on 4th down. Like whenever they went on 4th down, it felt like Reynolds was like the big because everyone else was being covered. They're like, yeah, we can sneak Josh Reynolds out there. He'll find the soft spot in the zone. But other than that, Reynolds was like, like is he good? Like no, not really. Like he was with the Rams.
He's also coming off of an injury.
Yeah, so it's like
he got injured while he was in Denver.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that it's like you need someone else besides Garrett Wilson. I wouldn't be surprised if the Jets do try to make a trade for a competent wide receiver too, especially if like Fields is showing something. Because like the AFC East is wide open, especially for a wild card position. If like certain teams in the West fall off or something.
Yeah.
So it's like if the Jets are in a good position come to trade deadline, I could see a world where they're just saying, "Hey man, we got Fields on this cheap quarterback contract. Let's make some calls, see if we can get like a secondary wide receiver to help out Garrett Wilson or someone that can kind of, help us out a little bit, like make this offense be a little bit more explosive."
Yeah, and with that in mind, let's take a look at the teams that Fields is going to be facing and where they might be around that trade deadline. So this is a very interesting schedule to me because they do start off right against the team that Fields was just with. And then they got to place Buffalo and then Tampa Bay. And you're going to be at Miami at a time period where Miami is still going to be – it's going to be warm enough where Miami can do some track meet stuff. Then you got to face the Cowboys, and who knows exactly what the Cowboys are going to be. Then you got to go up against the Denver Broncos. Granted, it's going to be in London, but you still got to face that Broncos defense. This is a pretty tough –
Holy shit. This is a tough opening. This is a – and then – of all the games, I can only see them winning 2.
And then, then you got to face the Bengals. Then you got your bye week. Then you have Browns, Patriots, Ravens, Falcons. We don't know week 13 Michael Penix Jr. where he's going to be and how that Falcons offense might be clicking 13 weeks into the season, might not. But I mean, with the plethora of talent that they have there, we talked about this when we did the NFC South. I wouldn't be surprised if the Falcons are at least competitive. So this is a very, very interesting schedule. Like I don't see the Jets getting a lot of wins here. And that might be, to me, why they put Fields on a 2-year deal, is because I think they knew what kind of teams they're going to be facing. And they were like, let's just try to make sure that this guy, because if they put him on a 1-year deal, right, you are dealing with confidence issues out the gate. Because it's already, for the player, they're like, the team doesn't believe in me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But you give them the 2-year deal and you're like, we want to try to build with you, see where it goes. This is not like a trial period, but like just get your feet wet. You know, we are also bringing in a new head coach, new offensive scheme, all this kind of stuff. How all that works. This is, to me, a real rebuilding kind of schedule, and it actually kind of works out pretty nicely for the Jets because it's such a tough schedule that I don't think, one, many people are expecting you to get a lot of wins, and two, I think it really does help you when it comes to who you're going to be looking at in the draft, because you're probably going to have a higher draft pick. And so let me just take a quick look. I should have had this pulled up, but let me take a quick look at if the Jets, like what their draft picks are looking like for next year. And it's because I don't think they've done that many. I don't think they have that many trades or anything like that. Okay, so they've got their first rounder, they've got their second rounder. They don't have trading Hassan Reddick to the Jets for. Okay, so they don't have their third rounder. That's going to the Eagles.
Yeah.
They do have their fourth rounder. They don't have their fifth. They don't. They have the Bills sixth, the Broncos sixth, their own sixth, as well as the Ravens sixth, and then there's a lot of interesting things happening in the seventh. I think they're getting a bunch of sevenths. So you do have, at least on your first and second round, the ability to take some swings, because those are going to be higher. They're probably more than likely, I think, going to be higher draft picks. So with that in mind, what are the games that kind of stand out to you from like that rebuilding phase, or like that, let's see what Aaron Glenn Jets football really looks like?
Man, dude, this is going to be like the first year Dan Campbell was in Detroit, where they were just awful. Like they were like awful. And Aaron Glenn is probably like, it'll be deja vu for him. He'll be like, yeah, I was the DC when we sucked and we couldn't win a football game and stuff. Like this is literally just like this first stretch is just, I only see them winning 1, maybe 2 games in that opening stretch and stuff. And I'm not even confident I can say they can beat Miami. Like, it's just like, or Dallas and stuff. Like, if there's a game that I feel like it's like, hey, we should probably win this in that opening stretch, has to be the Denver game on a neutral site, because you don't have to face you don't have to face Denver at Mile High, so that gives you kind of some confidence. It's technically a home game for you guys, so you're hoping people will show up in the green jerseys over there in the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium and stuff. So like that's kind of the game where it's like, hey, if you want to show that like you're not going to be completely ass, like that's the game right there, is the Broncos game, and facing a tough defense in the Denver Broncos, and hopefully you catch them sleeping, like they're just kind of like, we're tired from this. Like maybe the Broncos could kind of get dicked over in this situation, like they're not playing a home game week 5 and they have to travel week 5, and then they have to travel to London and stuff on week 6. So maybe you catch the Broncos in that situation, and that's where you can beat them, and that's like a win to hang your hat on. And then also week 8, that's a good way to get. I feel like I'm picking on the Bengals here, but it's just because they are a good team, and the Bengals and the Bengals are susceptible to lose to like the crappy teams for no reason. Like that's just like an MO for them, especially if you want confidence that your defense is really good. You stop a high power Bengals offense with Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and everything. Yeah, that would be like a good, like, hey, we beat, like, say if they went on a 3-game stretch, they lose their first games, but they beat Denver, Carolina, Cincinnati going into the bye. That makes it wide open where it's like, hey, we could be pretty good. And then Cleveland, New England, maybe lose to Baltimore, but then you win against Atlanta. You get a revenge on the Dolphins because you lost to them earlier in the season. You take on a Jacksonville team with a lot of question marks. Like the ending stretch for the Jets could be a really, really good ending stretch if they can win those 3 games in a row.
It kind of it seems like a sort of a trap section of a schedule.
Yeah,
like that's when, like right around week 15, that's when you start thinking, if you're the front office and the head coach, you're already probably, depending on the rest of the schedule, of course, you're probably starting to go, okay, what are we looking at for the draft?
Yeah.
Who's going to be available for free agency? And then all of a sudden your team rips off a couple wins and you're like, oh, wait, where's our draft pick going to be?
Yeah.
Now, so it's an interesting spot because you don't want to lose that draft position, but you also don't want to lose the confidence of the team and getting people who need to be re-signed, signed, and brought in.
Especially if the Jets have a bad season too, they have a bunch of names that you're like, you were reading their draft picks. They're missing a lot of 3rd and 4th round picks. That's one of those where it's like, we could recoup some of these picks if we just traded some of these players away. We can recoup on the offseason. Let's say if Sauce Gardner has a bad year, hey, a team will give a 2nd round pick for Sauce Gardner, and that's an extra 2nd round pick in your back pocket. Hey, let's just say, a Will McDonald, like I talked about, or Jermaine Johnson, they actually show some promise. They're edge rushers, and it's like, do we really need to pay these guys, or can we trade one of them for a 1st round pick or something because there's teams that like these guys, because the Jets, they definitely gave up some of those picks to, move up to get Jermaine Johnson, because that was one of their 3 1st round picks that they did that year in the draft. So yeah, it's one of those situations where it's like, they'll have pieces to trade. That's Garrett Wilson's also a guy hey, say if it doesn't work out, it's just there's rumors he might get traded this offseason. Didn't happen. So it's what's to say that they just look at it as just we know he's a really good player, but he's not going to be good for us. So we're going to trade him, get more draft capital. That's the thing with the Jets. They could look at their roster and just say, but yeah, to me, if the Jets really want to compete, that 3-game stretch of Denver, Carolina, and Cincinnati, because you got a Denver team that you're going to get honestly in a favorable situation. You're there, favorable situation that you're getting Denver in a neutral site game like that. Carolina at home after that, you should be able to beat those guys. And then if you can beat a high-powered Cincinnati offense, that makes it where it's oh, okay, cool. The Jets are in a good, healthy spot in this NFL sphere. But if they lose, because like I said, I could look at they could be literally entering the bye with only 1 win, and that's probably the Panthers game. That's it.
Yeah, it could be rough. It could be really rough.
That's what I'm saying. Aaron Glenn is probably going to be yeah, we suck. It's okay.
But let's turn to
it's Arch Manning coming out. Can you just come out this year? Peyton, can you call Arch? Tell him come out this year. I don't care if he wants to go transfer to UNC and play with Belichick. He might not be there. I'll be here in New York.
I'll be here.
bring Arch to New York.
But you know what? Let's look at a team.
Starts for Arch.
Let's look at a team that has definitely underdelivered on the promises that they had, and that's the Miami Dolphins. And the Miami Dolphins were kind of thought of as this wonderful team to watch. I mean, they still are, to be fair, a wonderful team to watch. But the question is, how does watching them when the game's over, are we surprised by the results? And, for the past couple of years, we kind of have been, at least in the beginning of, at least towards the end of the season. And now we kind of are looking at this team and going, well, really, what are the Dolphins? Are they just, in essence, a track and field team that plays football? Is that what that offense is? And can the defense deal with how often this offense has been letting them down? And let's look at this Miami Dolphins offense. So first, the big one to me is you're going to trade away Jonnu Smith and then get Darren Waller out of retirement. That's already a weird situation to me, just because of what Jonnu Smith was able to provide that team. And maybe they have the belief that Tyreek Hill is going to be able to put in a full season, and he probably will. But he's also getting older. And I'm never one to really bet against Tyreek Hill continuing to be Cheetah. He's one of my favorite wide receivers to watch. And I was very happy when he left the AFC West.
I was there for Mahomes' first start. And Tyreek Hill returned a punt against the Chargers, and I was like, Jesus Christ, man. And then Mahomes did this. And I tell people this all the time. I've seen Patrick Mahomes play live twice. You have to go see him play live. It's such a different atmosphere. And sadly, both times I've seen him play live, he's kicked the Chargers' ass. So it's like, oh man, he's so good with live. Like you can't be mad at it when you see. Like I tell people, it's different when you see certain throws live. When you're just like, holy shit, how did he do that? Like he had this sick throw to Tyreek Hill, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, I have to deal with this for like the next 5 years. And then when they traded him, I was just like, thank God. Like,
so I've only been to one NFL game live, and it was the Cardinals coming here to face the Chicago Bears.
Sorry.
No, it was a fun game to watch for me because I really had no vested interest in either of the teams winning. I really only cared from a fantasy perspective. But seeing Kyler Murray do Kyler Murray things
live is so fun.
I was like, God damn, all right. I can see kind of why the Arizona Cardinals are like, yeah, this could be the guy. Like you could see it. So I absolutely do agree with you from that perspective. And from that perspective, like I was saying, the idea of watching a fun team, you have that here in spades between Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and Tua Tagovailoa. The issue is whether or not one or three are going to be on the field at the same time. And that's, I think, is really the story here, because the Dolphins have taken swings on players who have, through different reasons, not played all the games that they need to be playing, whether it's Tua and concussions, Jalen Waddle and concussions, as well as I think it was a leg injury, Tyreek Hill picking up injuries, Devin Achane there's so many different issues. And this is the first time really where Devin Achane is going to be pressed into full RB1 duties. Before, he always had Raheem Mostert as kind of this guy who was going to be the thumper between the tackles, and then he was able to be the zone runner or the outside zone runner, as well as that receiving back. And it's interesting to see that they did go and get Alexander Mattison in the offseason, as well as draft Ollie Gordon Jr. Those are a little bit more of those between the tackle guys, but they also have Jalen Wright. Great speed there too. This is a fascinating offense from a effectiveness standpoint, because you can say at any given point in time, this is a team that's going to be able to score no matter where they are in the field. Even if they're starting at their 25, you can be like, yeah, like one play and they could be at least in field goal range. And then another play, and it's Tyreek Hill doing a dance in the end zone. It's Jalen Waddle doing the Waddle. Like it's one of those situations. But the problem there, to me, has always been complementary football. And if you are going to be able to score at such a high rate and at such a high speed, you are putting pressure on your defense to be able to hold the other team. And yes, on a 1 to 2 drive analysis or probability, you might believe in your defense. But over the course of a 60-minute, 4-quarter game, it's those moments where that defense takes that step back because they needed that breather. And then your offense has to now either play catch up or has to try to take the lead again because the game is tied, and your offense stumbles for whatever reason. And we have seen that time and time again be sort of the recipe for Miami Dolphins losses. So from that perspective, considering that this was an 8-9 team last year, who are the players that to you are going to be the real difference makers for the Miami Dolphins this year when it comes to getting back to the playoffs?
It's Jalen Waddle on offense. Like, he kind of took a really bad step back last year. Like, I thought Waddle had potential to be one of the top receivers in the league. He's one of my favorite players that was at Alabama. Like, he was like stuck on the Alabama depth chart because Devonta Smith, Jerry Jeudy, and Henry Ruggs was there. So he didn't really get to show it. And it's funny enough, like Devonta Smith should be thanking Jalen Waddle for getting injured that year. Otherwise, Devonta Smith isn't the Heisman. Jalen Waddle would have been the Heisman for Alabama if he didn't get injured. And I think Waddle, sometimes he gets miscasted as just like he can run really fast down the field. I think he can do it all as a wide receiver. I really do. I think he has that type of potential to be a really good do-it-all type wide receiver. It's just last year, especially when Tua was out, I don't know how any quarterback could succeed when Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle were both pouting and not even trying on a lot of their routes. Like, it was like, I get it, you're not having fun, but that was just absolutely ridiculous. A guy that they brought in that's kind of still coming back from injury, James Daniels, really good guard when he's healthy, but hasn't been healthy the last few years. So kind of interested to see how he's there, because I think he does bring a boost to that Dolphins offensive line. Darren Waller, I mean, he was good when in Oakland, but I don't know what
That
are
was
you
a
really?
long time ago, man.
Yeah, what are you going to get out of him?
Time ago.
I helped Darren Waller bring Waters to a suite at AEW Double or Nothing a few years back. He was a cool guy. He gave me a $25 tip, so I appreciate him for that. And I called out the Jets pass rushers, and I'm going to do the same thing for the defense here. Bradley Chubb, who you're very familiar with, a guy that touted to be one of the top edge rushers, going to be dominant. Hasn't shown that dominance. Jalen Phillips, a guy who I really like. I love Jalen Phillips. I can watch this kid play. It's just Jalen Phillips always gets injured. He can't stay healthy. And Chop Robinson is a guy that I think he did great last year in the spurts that we saw him. I think he finished like he was like a late guy to like get into the defensive rookie of the year voting. And
I will say this about Bradley Chubb is that when RJ asked me that question about Surtain and Fields, to go a little bit back to our Jets conversation, the one thing that gave me pause was Bradley Chubb. Because the year that Bradley Chubb got drafted, he got drafted 5th overall by the Broncos.
Mm-hmm.
And 7th overall was Josh Allen.
Yeah.
So Denver could have had Josh Allen. And granted, maybe they didn't believe that Josh Allen was going to be Josh Allen. And, John Elway, because he was the GM at the time, had that belief about what quarterbacks should be and how they should play and so on and so forth. So I get it. But, like, that was enough then that when the Surtain and Fields thing happened, I was like, maybe. Maybe it's going to be another repeat of that. Yeah. Luckily for me, it wasn't. But, Bradley Chubb absolutely does need to be a difference maker this year.
Yeah, he needs to be a guy like, I said Jermaine Josh and Will McDonald need to get 10.5. Bradley Chubb, you got to get 13, 15 sacks. You got to be one of the top 5 sack getters in the league. Like, that's what you got brought in for. That's why the Dolphins traded the capital, because the Broncos weren't going to pay him, and you believe that he's a top edge rusher. You're paying him like he's one of the better edge rushers in the NFL. I don't care about his run stopping abilities. That's not what you pay him for. You're not paying him to stop the run. That's what Jordan Brooks as the interior linebacker is for. It's to stop the run. Bradley Chubb's job is to make the quarterback's life hell. Bradley Chubb's job is to make it where Josh Allen doesn't want to get up at night to face him because he's going to kill him for 2, maybe 3 sacks that game. That's Bradley Chubb's job and stuff. And unfortunately, the Dolphins, their whole secondary got depleted. So they lost some really good players during this time and stuff. But, they brought in Mika Fitzpatrick. But, yeah, it's one of those things like, I feel the Dolphins can actually be a really good team as long as Tua is healthy. But I do think, and I'm a big Quinn Ewers guy, I think if Tua does get hurt, Quinn Ewers is way better than Skylar, whatever that porn star's name was.
Skylar Thompson?
Yeah, the porn star. You can't have this guy. There's certain names. Like, I'm a big believer. Names matter. So
I remember you telling me stories.
So names matter and numbers matter for players. Like, so if you're like Sky Moore, do you know why he sucks? Not only does he have a porn star name, but he's wearing number 24. That alone is just like, this guy's never going to make it in the league.
I love how somehow you made it about the Chiefs.
I'm just letting you know this is why this guy stinks. His name is a porn star name, and then his number is 24 as a wide receiver. You're not a running back, dog. Wear number 80. Wear a single digit number. Like, stop trying to be different just to be different. But it goes back to like Brock Osweiler. I saw Brock Osweiler. Everyone's like hyping it. I'm like, I can't. This guy's name is Brock Osweiler. This does not sound like a quarterback to me. This sounds like,
honestly, Brock Osweiler does sound like a quarterback name.
No, it sounds like the jobber that Brock Lesnar beats up on Sunday Night Heat when Brock Lesnar's moving up to the main roster. That's what Brock Osweiler sounds like to me. Like, oh, these two are fighting for the name Brock. Brock Osweiler just sounds like a jobber. Skylar Thompson was never going to make it in the league because of the name, but Quinn Ewers. What a name. That's such a great it's such a great name, dude. But I feel confident. Ewers, he's not Tua. But if Tua does have, his issues, like the funniest moment all last season, I do not care. I know it's horrible to say, I laughed at this, is when Tua slid and the whole stadium erupted. Like, this was the greatest scene. I was in tears. They showed this on Red Zone. This was like, we got a game break on Red Zone. And
I remember this now.
Red Zone's game breaks are normally for like touchdowns or amazing plays. Like, oh my God, look at this great catch by this player. It was like, and Tua scrambled and look at him slide. And then the crowd like, and I was like, What are we doing? That was the funniest moment of my life I've seen last season. Like, you can name another moment, and I don't think anything will top the Dolphins fans erupting in cheers like this was the greatest thing, that Tua did his job and slid instead of getting hit by a 230-pound football player.
So,
but yeah, if Tua's healthy, they're great. But I think if Tua does get hurt, I think Quinn Ewers will be fine. Zach Wilson, I'm sorry, buddy. You're permanent QB number 3. Like, you can be listed at number 2, but in reality, you're QB 3 for life. Like, you're just a cool guy to have in the locker room. Like, like, that's just it. Like, Zach Wilson, he seems like a cool locker room guy. Like, it's like one of those guys where you're just like, yeah, we got Zach in the locker room. He's cool. Like Zach seems like that good. Zach Wilson will go down as one of the greatest backups. He should have been a good starting quarterback. He just never panned out. He'll go down as a great backup. He will always be around because teams are going to be like, well, that arm strength ain't going around anytime soon. Like, he still could throw the ball deep and stuff. So
I want to ask you this quick question, because to your point about Bradley Chubb and getting those sacks, they did renegotiate his contract. And so now it's a 3-year, $55 million contract. And so this year his cap hit is $12 million. Next year and the year after, his cap hit goes up to 31. Like, that's an extra 19 mil that you got to account for on a team that is spending money when you have Tyreek Hill, Waddle, and the Tua contract. So it's like, ooh, this is they're in a very interesting position. So where I was going with this was, let's assume, and we're about to get into the schedule, but let's assume that the Dolphins don't make the playoffs. How much of a hot seat do you think Mike McDaniel's on?
Oh, he's on a hot seat. It's just because, like, the thing with Mike McDaniel is this: he comes for the Shanahan tree, and we've seen it with Shanahan. It don't matter who had quarterback; the system will figure it out. Brock Purdy became a great quarterback because of the coaching of Shanahan. Jimmy Garoppolo was competent because of the coaching of Shanahan. The fact that you couldn't get any of the backups to be competent, and let's be real, with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle on the roster, that's horrible. That's absolutely horrible. And then also Mike McDaniel's like philosophy of using his running backs. Like, he doesn't use the running backs traditionally. He makes them like it's all these scat back type of BS and stuff. And then it's just like, look, McDaniel, just like getting a guy like Ollie Gordon and Alexander Madison, that's good for the roster because they just had a bunch of guys with a bunch of speed, but these are guys that can't stay healthy all the time. They get banged up. Like, yes, I love Devin Achane. I have him in a lot of dynasty leagues. I always overdraft him because I know there are those weeks. Achane will win me a football game in fantasy because Mike McDaniel will have him do these he'll catch a lot of balls. He'll get like 3 touchdowns one game. I love Achane. He's just not a guy that you can throw out there as your primary running back. Like the Dolphins are that team like that I would build in Madden because all the players are really fast. Yeah, and I know that the CPU is not going to be as fast as my team, so I can do a lot of the cheese stuff because my players are fast. Like that's what the Dolphins are and stuff. And like that's the thing when it comes to the Dolphins. They work great when it's like if this was like a real life video game, but it's not a video game. This is real life football. And when you have Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle half-assing routes because they're pouting and they're tired because you make them run streaks all the damn time instead of just doing a simple little route, that shit goes down. Like I just said, Mike McDaniel, look, you're supposed to be this offensive genius. You should be able to figure out how to do something with your backups. Like your team should not be abysmal on offense. Like, and the Dolphins were abysmal on offense. Like we can blame the Dolphins defense, but how can you blame them when the offense barely did shit? And those motherfuckers like, really, another 3 and out? Great, we have to go back out there. The Dolphins defense played so much damn snaps last year. You can't expect these guys to be fresh when they go out there. Like, how? How can they be fresh when they're literally out there all the fucking time because your offense can't sustain a drive?
So let's look at whether or not somebody like Mike McDaniel is going to be on the hot seat and whether or not that defense is going to have to be covering for offense misfires. So this is not that terrible of a schedule. No, like you have the names that you're supposed to be facing with Buffalo Bills. You have a game against the Ravens. You do have that Commanders game, but it's in Madrid, Spain for some reason. You've got the Chargers game, and you've got the Bengals game, and yeah, you've got that Steelers game. But like this seems pretty winnable to get back to the playoffs. So for me, I would say, what are the games that you're kind of looking at to really, if you're the Dolphins, and so this is going to be a little bit earlier in the season, somewhere between 9 and 15, what's the game that you're like, okay, not only can we get to the playoffs, we cannot be one and done like we have been in the playoffs for all these years.
Yeah, the Chargers week 6, Dolphins tend to do well against the Chargers. The Chargers, whatever they travel to Florida, their brains just shut off and they're just like, oh, dude, we're in hot Florida. It's like, it's just California. It's just more
humidity
muddy.
Gets you,
the humidity gets to you. But that's a game where it's like, hey, the Chargers are going to be a wild card team that you will have to have like an advantage over. And I look at this Dolphins schedule, and I'm like, yeah, they handle business. They're definitely in the wild card. They could steal the 7th or 6th seed. And so like that Chargers game, it's like, that's a winnable game in my opinion. If you win that game, that sets you up for early success because, hey, say you beat the Patriots, say you beat the Jets, beat the Colts, beat the Panthers. Your only loss maybe is to the Buffalo Bills because it is in Buffalo to start out. You can be looking at, you're 5-1 at that point. 5-1 at that point. So that's a great start. And then you have like these games that are like trap games, like the Browns. That's a game where I'm like, that could be a trap game. It's in Cleveland. We don't know what Cleveland's going to be like, but we do know Cleveland has a very vicious defense, and Myles Garrett is not going to stop for anyone. He's just an absolute stud and stuff. That Atlanta game, who knows how Atlanta is like at that point? Maybe the Atlanta is really good and stuff. Then you got at least you got Baltimore at home and then Buffalo. So those two games too, Baltimore and Buffalo, another back to back. That's really like a stepping point. Like beating the Chargers, that's more of like, hey, we can make the playoffs. But if you can beat Baltimore and or Buffalo, those are the games where we're saying, hey, not only are we going to make the playoffs, we can win some games because we beat 2 of the potential 3 favorites in that situation. Like you got later in the season they have Cincinnati, but maybe at that point that's like more of a crucial game to like see who gets a wild card spot. But if you want to see like what this team can be, I look at those 2 games, 9 and 10, week 9, week 10, saying, oh man, if the Dolphins, like, because there is a realm, Dolphins could start off really hot. You look at the schedule, let's just say their only loss is to Buffalo, and they could be entering the Baltimore Ravens game on October 30th, that Thursday night game, and they have one of the best records in the NFL with only 1 loss, and they're taking on a Baltimore Ravens team. Like that could be a very big scenario, and that could be like where it's like, how good are these Dolphins when they go against a really good team?
Right.
And they're at home too, so they will have the advantage. It's not like they have a disadvantage. And then if you can parlay that, you get a nice long rest before facing Buffalo at the start of November in your stadium, and before you have to travel to the Bernabeu and face the Commanders. Like that could, like, there is a realm. The Dolphins literally could be like 9-1, 10-1 before their bye, or 9-2.
To me, this is a really crucial season for the Miami Dolphins, simply because like if you put your nose to the grind, not only can you potentially take the division from Buffalo, but you can secure Mike McDaniel's job. Because to me, if the Dolphins get to the playoffs and do like their one and done thing, or the Dolphins don't get the playoffs, if you're the Miami front office and you're not going, do we need a new coach? Like you're just I'm not saying it's a joke of an organization, but it's like you're definitely missing some things about what needs to be done to have a competitive football team.
Yeah, because especially because Tyreek Hill, he's been flirting with retirement and stuff. Like you just got to understand, hey, we tried the Mike McDaniel way. It didn't even get us to like an AFC championship.
Yeah.
Cut him. There's a bunch of new coaches. There's always going to be that hot offensive coordinator. Maybe you go with someone else. Maybe you grab someone from college and you say, hey, you can come be our head coach. Lincoln Riley, you come to us or something. Like I'm just throwing names out. There's a lot of names. Yeah. Like, just to be like, hey, you come here. Like we need something different because it's not working out with Mike McDaniel. I think Mike McDaniel, no matter what, he'll still be a great OC wherever he goes. He'll be a great offensive coordinator. It's just maybe the head coaching job is just a little bit tougher on him in terms of what he wants to do and stuff. And like when he just can be like the madman nerd, just designing routes and doing all that other crap, it's easier.
But we've mentioned the name. We've mentioned those names a bit here. Let's talk about those Buffalo Bills and the $330 million man just got married in the offseason. Congratulations to him, you bastard. But this is, of course, we are talking about Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. And the Bills, like I said, 5 years now, they have been division champions. But the question is whether or not that success is sustainable. But realistically, is it sustainable when you have to go into Arrowhead? Is it sustainable if you have to host the Bengals? Is it sustainable if you have to host or travel to Maryland and go to Andover and play the Ravens? So let's take a look at this roster. Now, the Buffalo Bills did not have that many draft picks to work with. And on top of that, they continually have traded out or traded back from different picks. We saw in 2024 what happened with the Keon Coleman trade. They kept moving back and back twice, including a trade with the Chiefs that allowed the Chiefs to get Xavier Worthy. But it was a smart decision from saving a money standpoint, especially because I think they always had their eyes set on Keon Coleman, and they kind of felt, okay, we don't anticipate Carolina taking him or Kansas taking him. And I also think that they would have been happy with either Xavier Worthy or Leggett, depending on which one of the three was remaining by the time it got to them. But this year, they go on defense, Maxwell Hairston in the first round, and they're doing what they can to try to shore up a defense that has been very good, very, very good. But interestingly, we talk about people being the star player for a team, and in no way, shape, or form is this more important than in Buffalo. Because if you look at the surrounding talent around Josh Allen, there's really nothing. Because I remember you and I were talking about this last year, and you were like, who is Josh Allen going to throw to?
Yeah.
And I was like, it's going to be Khalil Shakir. It's going to be James Cook. And remember, I rattled all the names, and I remember in the sports chat, when you and I were talking about it, people were just like, this doesn't make any sense. And I was like, because it's not about who it is. It's about who's got the ball when the ball gets snapped, and it's Josh Allen. And somehow the ball will get where it needs to go, whether it's him carrying it himself, getting it to Cook, getting it to whoever. But on an offense that really does not have superstar names outside of Josh Allen, and maybe to a certain extent James Cook.
James Cook,
he's
a superstar. He's a superstar.
Maybe.
No, he is.
I think he is, but he's also on my dynasty team with Josh Allen.
I think James Cook is an absolute superstar.
To me, I think they should have paid him already. But
he should get paid. Him and Josh Allen. They're such a scary backfield, and then you add in Ray Davis, who also is really, really, really shifty as well. Ty Johnson's a good pass catcher.
For example, if somebody told me that the Buffalo Bills were going to switch from being a gunslinging offense to much more of a ball control, run the ball offense, I'd be like, yeah, no, I totally see that. Between Cook, Davis, and Josh Allen, particularly with Josh Allen, as long as nothing happens to the guy, I completely see it. And so where I was going with this was the reason why I think they worked hard to try to draft for the defense was because they're going, we trust Josh to get the job done. Mm-hmm. It's kind of similar to the Peyton Manning Colts back in the day, where they were like, Peyton will figure that shit out. Let's try to figure out this defense. And it worked in some regards for the Colts. It didn't work other times. But this is a situation where you're kind of surprised because a lot of people say, well, this Buffalo Bills defense, Sean McDermott, et cetera. But you and I were talking about this during playoff games and during games against the Bengals and whatnot, where it's like they just don't want to tackle. They were, remember we were talking about it, you're playing zone instead of man and coming up to meet the receivers, and they're not tackling. They're playing too far off. So I think they're trying to get get better at that. And they bring in your boy, Joey Bosa, trying to.
I'm rooting for him. I love him. I love Bosa, by the way. As a Chargers fan, I root for him. I love that guy.
Blow the dust off of those really shitty knees. And see what happens there.
Hey, he can play 10 games. As long as he gets 7 sacks in those 10 games, it's all good. He does his job.
Basically, they were like, all right, so what we're going to do is we're going to lose Von Miller and replace him with Joey Bosa.
Yeah.
That's a strategy. Every 2-3 years, they just replace one aging former AFC West great pass rusher with another AFC West former pass rusher.
Yeah.
So I think he'll be retired by then. But in the off chance, Khalil Mack, you are a future Buffalo Bill. or John
retiring soon.
Yeah, or John Franklin Myers, or maybe Zach Allen by then. But who are the pieces to you that kind of stand out from the perspective of just getting this team over the? You know what? I think a Buffalo fan base, even if they lost in the Super Bowl, would just be happy that they were in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
After everything that's happened. So from that perspective, who are you looking at to be like, this is the player that I think this year is going to be able to help them get to the Super Bowl? Because then it's an any given Sunday scenario of who wins and who loses.
It's all the players, because they figured out this is how we can be, because this Buffalo team, whatever they do in the regular season, throw that away. They just have to make the playoffs, because this team is literally built. We are going to kick everyone's ass in the playoffs, and we know who we need to stop in the playoffs. That's number 15. Yeah. No one else. We know we can handle Lamar and the Ravens. We're not afraid of those guys. It's number 15 that keeps killing us. How do we stop 15? We bring in Joey Bosa to complement AJ Espinoza. We have a guy like Michael Holt, who has been a very, very good, spot pass rusher to complement Greg Rousseau. We bring in a Larry Ogunjobi, who is a good rush nose tackle. TJ Sanders, we draft him to complement Ed Oliver as our defensive tackle. And then you drafted a bunch of other young, fast pass rushers. It's like fresh bodies, fresh legs, attack the quarterback. That's how we're going to win in the playoffs. Because that's been the detriment for them in the playoffs, is that when they needed a crucial sack, when they needed that big sack on like 2nd and 7, they couldn't get it. And then it's like 3rd and manageable or 1st down for them and stuff and whatnot. Getting corners who are physical. You got a guy like Maxwell Hairston, who's going to be a physical corner. You bring back a Tre'Davious White, who, yes, is not the same Tre'Davious White when you drafted him all those years ago, but guy can still play man defense, and he's better than what you had over there. You pay Christian Benford because you needed him to stay on your roster. Like Teron Johnson, like that's the thing. Be physical, because you know what you're going to be going against. You know you're going to have to beat the Chiefs if you're going to make it to the Super. Whether you face the Bengals or the Ravens, whatever you face in the AFC title, or if you have to face the Chiefs in the divisional, you have to beat 15. That's just it. You're not going to make it to the Super Bowl unless you beat number 15. That's what this defense is designed for. It is the prevent Patrick Mahomes from beating us defense. That's what they literally did with this defense. Make it where the Chiefs, and let's face it, the Chiefs, when we get to talk about the AFC West, that weapons room is not as scary as we want to admit. Like, that's not like that scary of an offense. Those are guys that if you play physical with them, if you out physical them and you have home field advantage and you're facing the Chiefs, that's where it's like, okay, we're a much more physical team. On the offensive side of the ball, I think bringing in guys like Josh Palmer and Elijah Moore, like Josh Palmer, he had his issues in LA for sure. But the thing with Palmer is this. I think he plays perfectly with a guy like Josh Allen, because in Tennessee, Palmer always played with these quarterbacks that just would run around like idiots. And then Palmer would improvise, and then they would throw like a deep shot to Palmer, and then Palmer would catch it. And he's a big body. Like, he doesn't seem that big. Like Palmer, like if you compare him to a lot of receivers, you'll be like, he's not that big. But when you see him in person, he's compact. He can catch. I think he can make those tough catches. I just think, in LA, they were really trying to make Palmer into like that burner wide receiver, which that was never going to be his game. Palmer is more of like, hey, I can box you. I can box you out. I can, like, he's like a discount Cortland Sutton. He's like, he doesn't have the height of Cortland Sutton, but that's what he is. But an Elijah Moore, who I look at as like, besides Curtis Samuel, who's kind of lost a little bit of explosiveness, this guy's still pretty explosive as a player. Like, I feel like if he can make the roster for this team, I don't know where he's at in camp and everything, but I've seen the flashes of Elijah Moore where I'm like, hey, maybe if Keon Coleman's kind of struggling still and you don't really see it out of him yet, Elijah Moore, he can run really fast. He can make those deep catches. That's something that you like. I look at the players that they surrounded with Josh Allen. Sure, may not be the best names, but I'm like, they fit with how Josh Allen operates the ball. Like, Palmer is going to notice that, like, Josh Allen is running around like a goof back there, and he's going to be like, "Oh, I'll just keep running," and then Josh Allen will just chuck it down the field. Like I'm telling you guys, like Palmer, he is definitely someone that you should keep on your fantasy radars of like a super duper late pick, and you're just going to be like, "Oh, you know what? Yeah, Chase was right about this with Palmer. Like he's actually not that. Like I won't be surprised if people are like, wow, Josh Palmer. Like how did the Chargers fuck this one up?" And it's like. I literally explained to you how they fucked this up. Like I don't know what you want me to tell you and stuff. Like, but yeah, I really do like what the Bills did. They're going to be one of the best teams in the AFC. Like I said, don't look at the regular season record. You're going to look at the regular season record. You're going to be like, oh, we're going to get Josh Allen's over. I'm like, guys, they don't care about that anymore. This team will like as long as they don't collapse, they'll make the playoffs. And when they make the playoffs, and if healthy, especially with all their edge rushers that they have, they're going to wreck shop in the playoffs. But a guy that just needs to step up is Matt Milano. Last year was not a good year for him, and a couple years before that, he was like an All-Pro type linebacker. So it's just like you kind of need to get him back to form and stuff. But other than that,
do you see a strong? I mean, obviously, I think it's a strong chance, but like, do you see a world where Allen's able to repeat as MVP?
Oh yeah, I the only person that I feel like is a threat to Allen and the MVP is Joe Burrow, because I think I think the Bengals will be good, and Burrow will have the same gaudy numbers that he had last year, where it's just like, because like when you look at the NFC side of things, I'm sure like a Baker and a Goff, they will do well with their teams, but I don't think they'll have the same stat line. I don't think Mahomes is going to have a good stat line. Herbert, just the way that the Chargers play, I don't think he will ever reach to that stat line. And then same with and then Lamar, I just think the voters are fatigued with him. Like they're just like, we don't want to give it to him. Like
sounds like it's perfect time for Bo Nix.
Yeah, I mean Bo Nix has a chance. I mean he can run if he can throw for 3,500, get a couple touchdowns, and then he rushes for like 500 yards. He could be like a third place MVP vote type of guy. So yeah, I just think that Josh Allen's big threat to repeating MVP is a Joe Burrow type, because I feel like Joe Burrow and plus too, Joe Burrow has like a better story compared to Josh. There is a narrative behind the MVP, as stupid as it is. Like that's why Lamar didn't win last year, because like voter fatigue. Yeah, and Josh Allen had this.
There was a factor of that.
Yeah, Josh Allen had a better story to tell with his MVP, and Joe Burrow will have a better story. All this adversity, they end up paying him and his receivers, and then him and his receivers end up kicking ass and stuff. Like it's just like oh cool, yeah, like because they're not going to give it to Chase or Higgins. Like they're going to be like, well, who has to throw him the ball? Joe Burrow. And Burrow, there's a realm.
It is basically a QB award.
Yeah, like Burrow, there's a world Burrow could be throwing for like 4,800 plus yards and have 40 plus touchdowns this year and stuff. And I don't think Josh Allen just because like how James Cook will steal touchdowns from him.
Yeah,
like it's like the same thing where it's like James Cook. How many? He had like 17 touchdowns total last year. James Cook or something. He had some gaudy number of touchdowns. So Josh Allen, he's not going to have like the passing touchdowns. Like he'll have the yards, but the passing touchdowns, it's going to be like 30 something. And then like and in terms of like the rushing touchdowns, he will get those, but the rushing yards won't be there. But if Burrow puts it like 4,800, 45, and the Bengals are one of the first two seeds in the AFC, or just like,
because in a lot of those, I think what a lot of people forget is that in those Bengals games last year, they were not like blowout losses. Yeah. So like they were really just punch for punch. Yeah. And if certain things had shifted slightly differently, Bengals are in the playoffs without a problem.
Oh, and Joe Burrow's probably MVP too.
And he would have won the MVP. So that's why I'm saying, that's why I'm agreeing with you. Like Burrow is probably one of the strongest candidates out there. Like regardless of what Vegas says. To win MVP. And
what's his odds, Burrow, to win MVP?
I mean, you know what? That's a good question. Let's find out right now.
I'm sure Josh is the favorite.
So Bet Online has him at plus 600. Caesars has him at plus 650. Let me see. Where is?
That's not bad.
Yeah,
that's a good bet.
Like the actual, like the list with everybody else. This is terrible. Let me just do 2025 NFL MVP odds. That's
yeah.
That's the way to do it. Okay. So FanDuel right now has
Mahomes probably number one just because Mahomes.
No, it's Lamar at plus 430.
Okay.
Josh at plus 600. Burrow at plus 600. Mahomes at plus 650.
Okay.
Jaden at plus 850.
Oh, that's a bad. Don't bet on Jaden Daniel. We're going to talk about him in the team soon, but don't do that. That's the way you're just giving a donation at that.
Some overrated bum in LA at plus 2,000.
Oh, Herbert. That's a great bet. 2,000. I'll put 100 on Herbert.
I'm shocked. I'm shocked that you would put.
Yeah, why not? There's a chance.
Plus 2,000 for Jalen Hurts. Then you've got there's a bunch of guys
Jalen Hurts winning MVP would be the funniest. The timeline would be hilarious if Jalen Hurts won MVP.
I think it's safe to say that we don't need to discuss the Buffalo Bills schedule.
No, I think we look at the schedule. If we look at the schedule, I'll just tell you they got to beat the Chiefs. They got to beat the Ravens. The rest, and the Texans. That's a tough game too. Got to beat the Texans in prime time. Sure. So all three first place teams.
And you got that Eagles game. You got that Eagles game in the 17th.
Oh, are you serious? The Eagles are going to be one of the top teams, and everyone going to be resting. You think Sirianni going to be? None of these, dude. This might be one of the worst Fox games ever. We're going to be watching Mitchell Trubisky versus who is Dorian Thompson-Robinson? Is he now the Eagles backup? Yeah. That's what we're going to be watching December 28th. Like, the NFL's like, yeah, that's a great post-Christmas game, right, guys? And it's like, yeah, if you want to watch DTR versus fucking Mitchell Trubisky, sure.
So let's take a quick look at where is it? Here we go. Oh, I got to remove you and then put you there. Look, so these are the odds right now. Let me see if I can make this bigger, though. No, that's not helping me.
Oh, my God.
There we go. These are our current odds for MVP.
I ain't gonna lie, man. I kind of do like
Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Plus 7,500 for Bo Nix.
That's not bad. CJ Stroud plus 2,500. I kind of like that, to be honest. And then same with Jordan Love. Jordan Love, if he gets the Packers ahead.
No, he's not.
No, I'm just saying if he did, that's like...
Yeah, but if he did, that's why it's plus 2,500.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying I kind of like that value of it because, Jordan Love... Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I kind of like that because, the Packers are one of the most historic franchises, so, they're going to get love from the NFL media no matter what.
There are some interesting names there, like the idea that Dak is plus 4,000.
Yeah, Dak
versus I'm not trying to toot my team's own horn here, but I don't think Dak Prescott should be plus 4,000 if Bo Nix is going to be plus 7,500. That's just a very large gap for some reason. I get it. He's got CeeDee Lamb. I get it, and now he's got George Pickens. Yeah, I get it.
Come on, but what I'll say Dak's one of those good bets. You just put $25 on him, and then once Dak has a good season. And they give you the cash out. Yeah, you just cash out early. That's what the Dak Prescott bet is. It's this is a good hedge. I just go, I bet $25 on Dak, and then the Cowboys do play well, and Dak is doing what he did a couple years back. It's they're giving me a cash out option of $300. Sure, I'll take it, and then you just cash out, and then you don't think twice about it. You just go, oh, cool. He didn't have to win MVP. He just did enough to get in the conversation. Yeah, I think Dak. He's a good cash out option. And then same with Baker. Baker's not a bad if you want to put 100 on him. And then you hope because we talked about Tampa and how they could actually be the top team in the NFC looking at their schedule. It's kind of Baker gets there. Joe Burrow, maybe the Bengals start off slow. Maybe Josh Allen doesn't have the gaudy numbers yet. Maybe Lamar is getting touchdown vultured from Derrick Henry. Baker has for whatever reason 22 touchdowns. Emeka Egbuka I want to see Rookie of the Years, to be honest. I know Hampton was one of the favorites, but
actually, you know what? While we're right here, you know what fucking pisses me off more than Dak Prescott at 4,000 when Bo's at 7,500? Drake May at 6,000.
He has a rocket arm. Not see that?
Shit. All right, hold on. Let me see if they have it just here. Rookie of the Year. Here you go.
Oh, okay. Hampton at plus 1,000. That's great. That's a great. I like Hampton and Henderson. No offense to Genty. I just don't see Genty running with that offensive line. Cam Ward, I don't know. It's going to be rough for him. I don't know what I don't know what position Travis Hunter is playing yet, mostly, but it seems like offense, and I don't think he's going to steal catches from BTJ.
Yeah.
Tyler Shuck, like no.
the cornerstone of your Saints franchise.
Oh, I can't wait. I'm going to make him a stud, man. I'm going to give you updates. You're going to be like, what the fuck? Tyler Shuck's 99 overall, and I'm going to be like, yeah, superstar X Factor, buddy. Doesn't have any good abilities, but fuck it. Tatoria McMillan. I don't know if he's going to get the touchdowns, to be honest. Like, that's the thing.
And the other thing is that if he's getting the touchdowns, then why wouldn't Bryce be higher?
Yeah, right. Yeah. So I don't know, but yeah, I like because I always feel like, especially for offensive rookie of the year, like it's like a running back award. Like a lot of the times, like if a running back just like gets like 800 yards and like 7 touchdowns, or like
so you're saying it's going to be RJ Harvey.
I mean, what's his odds? Is he even on the list? I don't even see him. Right. Oh, but yeah, I mean, I think Harvey, Henderson, Hampton, those are good value bets, to be honest. Yeah. Like, you don't put a lot on them, but $25, you're not going to be upset. Like, especially, those teams are going to be running the football and
it
stuff.
It's interesting that Vegas really is anticipating that what's his name, Judkins, like, does not play.
Yeah, I don't think he's playing.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, I don't think he's playing at all. And stuff. Do they have defensive rookie of the year? I called it last year. I got my boy from the Rams last year. What was his name?
Defensive player.
Oh, defensive player of the year awards. Let me see who they have as the top player of the defense. It's probably just Myles Garrett and
Michael Parsons.
That's so stupid. It should be Myles Garrett. You know who could be a good value bet? I love Jared Verse. He did win me money for defensive rookie of the year. But man, Will Anderson Jr., I think he can do it. Too, yeah. I think he could do it at plus 1,600. He's a beast and stuff. Hutchinson, he's also a good guy I would bet on. Look at your boy Bonito, man. Plus 3,300, not bad.
Pat's at plus 3,300. He's not getting it again. You need those pass rushers to get hurt again. So
yeah.
I do appreciate that they have him at plus 33 and Sauce at plus 7,500. PFF suck it.
Dude, like I wonder what Pat Surtain's odds were last year to win defense, because they probably weren't high. They were probably
It was somewhere. It was somewhere in this range originally.
Yeah. Who could be the Pat Surtain? You know what? I'm gonna stick it to the South. Where's Gonzo at? Where's Gonzalez at? I think he could do a Pat Surtain type of carry.
Christian Gonzalez?
Yeah. I think Gonzo has a chance. He could be the cornerback that has a chance this year. Or Stingley. Stingley is also a beast too.
Stingley, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like those guys I like.
Let's see if we can find oh Lord. Offensive player of the year. Oh, that's just defensive rookie. Here you go.
Yeah, let's see. Oh man. Yeah. Where's my dog? James Pierce Jr. That's my dog this year. I'm being dead honest when I say that. I think he's going to be. I have high hopes for James Pierce Jr. I think he's going to be a beast. Abdul Carter probably will win though, because he's fucking insane. Like I think I can't wait to talk.
And he went to a team that's going to use him.
Yeah, and he's just really good at football. Like when I say he's good, Jesus Christ, he's so good.
But that actually tees up very well for what we're about to discuss, which is we are moving from the AFC to the NFC East.
Oh God!
And last year, the NFC East broke down as such. You had Philadelphia in pole position, 14-3, Washington 12-5, Dallas at 7-10, and then the New York Football Giants at 3-14. Yeah. And how did the New York Football Giants respond to this? Well, they took that first round draft pick and they got Abdul Carter. So at the very least, their defense should be better. Should be. We shall see. But it is a very interesting division because I'm looking at it right now. You have to go all the way back to 2004 to see the last time a team repeated as division champion. It has been a different division champion every single year since 2002, 2003, 2004, when it was Philly 3 years in a row. Giants, Philly, Dallas, Giants, Dallas, Philly, Giants, Washington, Philly. It just keeps changing every year. So the first question before we get into any team breakdown is, do you think this is the year that Philly repeats as division leader, division champion, or do you think we see another team, aka like probably the Commanders, win the division?
Another team will win the division. Super Bowl hanging over. The Eagles are kind of acting like psychopaths now since they won that Super Bowl and stuff. Like, so it's one of those where it's just like, I think the Eagles will still be a great team. It's just there's a lot of bad omens, and it's just the NFC East. It's like this is as wide open as a division you can get because we will literally probably shit on this Giants roster and talk about their schedule's tough and whatever. And then we're talking about them in week 7. We're like, wow, the Giants, what a surprise this season. Like Jackson Dart, Russell Wilson, he's back. Jameis Winston, who knows? Like that's the thing. So anything can happen in the NFC East. It's the most fun division in football. It's like literally like it's the Big 12 of like the NFL. Where the Big 12, like you could say like the best like this year everyone's gonna be on Texas Tech. And then all of a sudden, like it's like, what? No way. Arizona won? And it's like Arizona State last year. Like everyone's like, wait, what? They're the Big 12 champs? Like, what? So that's the thing about the NFC East. There's a lot of fun. It's like the fun version of football. There's a lot of parity. The games are always good. The rivalries are some of the best. Like I think besides the AFC North, they have some of the best rivalries, like between all the teams and stuff. Great uniform combos, minus when the Giants wore those ugly throwbacks. But yeah, man, I love NFC East football. Like nothing gets me more hyped up when I'm watching a Chargers afternoon game, knowing that I can flip the channel back to go watch the Cowboys versus to whoever they're facing. Yeah, insert name here. Yeah.
So let's take a look at this Giants roster, and man, there are a lot of holes that they needed to fill.
It stinks.
It stinks. And so, starting with the quarterback position, they let Daniel Jones go. And they bring in Russell Wilson, and they also they trade up back into the first round to get Jackson Dart. They also, on offense, kind of double down on this running back room, and pick up Cam Scatterbo, one of the more electric running backs that we have seen come out of the draft recently from a late round perspective, just because of seeing what he did in the college football playoffs. The bright lights and all eyes were on him, and people really paid attention, and he kind of shot up some draft boards because of that. He didn't shoot up that high. I mean, he was still a 4th round pick, but he was kind of, what the Giants are looking for to be able to pair with Tyrone Tracy, who was definitely a surprise.
Yeah.
Many people. You and I had some questions about whether Devin Singletary was going to be able to be the lead back. However,
we don't call him Devin. He's Motor here.
From Motor Singletary. However, I don't think you and I anticipated Tyrone Tracy being as good as he was. Just similarly to last year, how the question was Devin Singletary holding on to that RB1 job, Tyrone Tracy holding on to the RB1 job with Cam Scatterbo coming in. We shall see. But this defense definitely needed some help, and they're getting it in the form of Abdul Carter. So I don't, just as I know you just said, hey, it's NFC East football and anything can happen. But I don't think most of us are anticipating the Giants really going that far. And granted, it's a team that has Malik Neighbors, so you never know. But who are the players that to you stick out as people that the Giants can really build around for the future? And obviously, like, there's the Malik Neighbors of the world. So let's try to get away from those kind of people. For me, it's going to be the Cam Scatterbos. It's going to be the Theo Johnsons and the Daniel Bellingers of the world. But I'm interested to see who you really like on defense.
Man, on defense, honestly, it's just Abdul Carter. there's they have to still work on this defense. Like that's why I was surprised most of their draft picks were like so offense heavy, because I was just like, I get it that you want to make the offense better, but you gotta help out this defense. But yeah, if they can get something out of Kayvon Thibodeau, that helps out too. Like he's kind of been a little bit of a disappointment. He hasn't been the dominant edge rusher that we thought he would be. Tyler Newman entering his 2nd year, they were very high on him and stuff. So I would like to see some improvement out of him. I think he's a good safety in the league. Drew Phillips, another guy that they were high on last year, and he was okay, but I would like to see steps from him. But they have a lot of work to do on defense. But having a stud like Abdul Carter, a freak like Brian Burns, and I don't know. Dexter Lawrence, sexy Dexy. We'll have to wait and see. He might get cut too. You know, those Clemson players are freaks. We should investigate Dabo Sweeney and Clemson. Like let's investigate Dabo Island and let's rescind all those national titles they won because there's some weird shit going on.
Sounds like some bias.
No bias. I'm sorry. Did the Clemson quarterback not ask for all these massages? I don't know. Was a former Clemson defensive tackle kissing his teammates and trying to play with their tickles? Like I don't know. That's kind of weird too. Dexter Lawrence, remember sexy Dexter? Like apparently was texting an underage girl. I'm just saying. Should probably look this up. Should probably do it and stuff. But yeah, really, really terrible defense. Offensively, it's like, can we just give up on Russell Wilson? Are we done? Like, he has nothing left. Well, are you looking up the Dexter Lawrence stuff?
No. Holy shit. Okay. It's hilarious that we happen to be talking about this right now. We're going to put a quick pause on the New York Giants.
Oh, no.
Because it has now been reported 18 minutes ago or 20 minutes ago, Scary Terry has requested a trade from the Commanders.
Man, dude.
So hold on. I wasn't going to take this.
Call now. Get Scary Terry on my damn roster.
Hold on. I was gonna take. We were gonna go to the Dallas Cowboys. We were going in order from weakest to strongest.
I don't care. I want Terry McLaurin.
But ladies and gentlemen, this is ridiculous. What the fuck? Oh, Washington Commanders. You are now on the clock. Because I think, really quickly, no offense to any Giants fans or anything like that. The Giants were probably going to win a couple games here and there. They were probably going to be pretty decent. It is a rebuilding year. If they do very well, we will all be surprised, and Russell Wilson will look get comeback player of the year or some shit.
I just want to quickly say, I think Jackson Dart will be fine for you guys. I think fans that were over I think Jackson Dart's good. I think he'll do well for the Giants. Just give up on Russell Wilson, please. I'm tired of watching this guy play. Like, he's no longer the fun Russell Wilson. Like, he's just been whatever. But yeah, wow, the Commanders just got a little bit worse. So,
Commanders. This is fascinating. You just went from how hold on. Let me see if I can find any kind of information about this. For what reason is he asking for a trade? It's because of the contract extension.
Yeah, because they won't pay him.
Wow. So this is ESPN's Adam Schefter. McLaurin, who's seeking a contract extension with 1 year left on his current deal, reported to training camp Sunday to end his holdout, but was placed on the PUP list because of an ankle injury. He said earlier this month he would not step on field without progression towards a new contract, and he has not publicly stated what sort of contract he is looking for, but he said last week that, quote, with how the market is today, it conveys what guys of my caliber are deserving of. So,
I mean, he was important for them last year. Come on, Jim Harbaugh. I'm just saying. Lad McConkey, Terry McLaurin, Trey Harris, I'll be happy. Just saying.
So, I mean,
we have the cap space.
Yeah, you do have the cap space. Yeah. But I mean, if you're the Commanders, why have you not just gotten this done? You have a rookie quarterback on his rookie deal.
Because they fucking traded for Debo and Laramie Tunsil. These two are on horrible contracts. That's why. Well, Tunsil's contract's not that horrible. It's like he's getting paid correctly, but he's still getting paid a lot of money. And then, I mean, you just look at the Commanders. They have a lot of guys that they're paying a lot of money to. It's like, yeah.
Dude, this is so okay. So let's if you're the Commanders, obviously you don't want to trade him. Yeah. But if you're the Commanders and you're kind of being forced to trade him, who are you looking to trade him to? Like, who has the best? Because it's not a cap space issue to the team that you're trading him to. Because like they're not going to be like, okay, we'll take X number of dollars of the cap hit for this year. It's who's going to give you the best value. So which team realistically has the ability to give you the best value from a draft pick standpoint? you would have to think of the Patriots would be an option.
Yeah, because like I feel the Patriots could give you like I look at the Patriots. If you really want to fuck them over, you send them where receivers die. You go, all right, you want traded? You want to get paid? Go to Las Vegas. Have fun there. And
the Raiders?
Yeah, the Raiders have capital, and Pete Carroll will take it.
I know.
Pete Carroll will take him.
Yeah.
Tennessee, Tennessee is another team that I could see where it's like, hey, we have Ridley and Lockett, but if we could get Terry McLaurin to pair it with Ridley, that's a good 1-2 punch at wide receiver, and that helps out Cam Ward. We were talking about with the Jets, another Ohio State guy, just say, hey, I'm coming to go play with Garrett Wilson. That's another guy that I think pairs up well with Garrett Wilson. I mean, I don't know how much the Chargers don't seem like they would give up the capital to get him. Like,
the Chargers don't make sense simply because they want to be a run first team.
Yeah, no, I think they make sense because of the play action. Like Terry McLaurin will be great for play action. It's just I don't think Joe Ortiz would be like he has shown that he's not willing to give up draft capital to get a guy and stuff. Yeah. And then like it's not about not paying Terry McLaurin. It's more of like they look at it as like, he comes from the Ravens, and like how many times have the Ravens ever made like a big swing to bring someone in and giving out like a first round, second round pick type of deal? Like, no, the Ravens would sign him if he's available in free agency and stuff. So I think the Patriots, that would be a good guy to help Drake May, and then not only that, alleviate some pressure off Stephon Diggs a little bit, and then you get a guy that is a speedster, show that he's still one of the top receivers in the league last year. But I do think it's like the Patriots, or it could be like an Ayuk situation. He holds out, and then we get breaking news, and he gets paid. Like he gets paid because because if you're Jaden Daniels, you should be going like, look, like I'm not throwing to Luke McCaffrey all the time, dog. Like, I love Noah Brown. He's not my guy. And Debo's been eating all the snacks in the locker room, guys. Come on. What are we doing here?
See, this is fascinating because, like, right now they have – I'm trying to figure out their cap situation. So they're saying right now they have a dead cap hit of 14 mil. Their top 51 cap space is 17. And their total cap right now is 318. So like they have the money.
Is Terry 28 or 29? He's older.
Terry he's 30.
Oh, that's why. He's 30 years old.
Yeah, I mean I understand from the perspective of the Commanders why Terry is not like super long for the team. Like, but I saw a world where Terry was around for like the next 2 years.
Yeah, no, they should pay him off. I think they're offering him just a 3-year contract, and he wants a 4 or 5 year contract.
Yeah, so like right now, his for this year, his base salary is 15.5. He's got a per game bonus of 850, a roster bonus of 2.8, and a workout bonus of 500. So like right now, his cash total is 19.65 million. So, like, I can see why he's like, yeah, I mean, T. Higgins is getting X number of dollars. Brandon Ayuk got X number of dollars.
And then also, other older receivers are getting paid. Diggs got paid still. Devonta Adams got paid still. Cooper Kupp is renegotiating with the Seahawks. So, it's like, my age shouldn't matter. And also, receivers, they have shown they can play a lot longer in the league and stuff. So, it's
especially these days.
Yeah, he looks at it as like, hey, I've been healthy the last few years. This is the first year that you guys actually got me a quarterback, and you saw the results. Pay me what I'm worth and stuff. Because also too, let's not forget he was in the trade talks of the Ayuk trade because they were thinking, oh, okay, we'll just trade Terry for Ayuk.
Yeah,
Ayuk and Jaden Daniels have this connection from Arizona State. That was like the thing, and then pretty much he was like one of the main reasons why they didn't trade because they were like, oh, we want to keep Terry. So if you're Terry McLaurin, you're like, that's weird. You didn't trade me for a guy that got paid last offseason, but you're willing to pay him because that was the thing that they would have traded for Ayuk. They were going to pay him, but you're not going to pay me. Like I could see where Terry's like, I like how this
ESPN article is written because it says several notable wide receivers signed long-term deals this offseason, including the Bengals T. Higgins, 4 years, 115 million.
Yeah.
DK Metcalf, 4 years, 132. Garrett, 4 years, 130. Now, obviously, Terry's older than all those guys, which they then point out, and then they add two older high-end receivers signed extensions last year. At age 30, Tyreek Hill signed a 3-year extension for $30 million per year. And at 31, Mike Evans signed for 2 years and $41 million. So, like, in either of those situations, granted, Mike Evans, it's slightly more than what Tyreek is making right now. Than what Terry's making right now. But are we putting Terry McLaurin in the same conversation as a Tyreek Hill or a Mike Evans? Like, that's because we can believe that a player should get, I should say that the player can believe that they should get paid as much as they want to believe it. But if you're going to hold up other people as examples, and maybe he's not necessarily referring to, when he's in these conversations, referring to Tyreek Hill and Mike Evans, but those are the ones that are in your age bracket. Are we really comparing him to those kinds of players, especially when, granted, Terry, one of his best values is the speed, and all it takes is that one injury after you're past year 30 that causes you to lose that speed. So this is a very interesting thing.
Yeah.
And so do you want to potentially change that, assuming Terry's not on the team? Let's start there. Do you want to change that idea that there will be a different division winner?
No, well, I was going to have the Cowboys win the division.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah. No, I truly believe the Cowboys are going to. The fans are back. They're so back. They're going to be all like, "This is our year. We them boys." Like, they're going to have a good season. This is the perfect year for the Cowboys to annoy us again. Like, this is they're going to get pissed when Dak loses in the playoffs. Like, it's vintage. No, I actually felt Washington was going to struggle this year just because I necessarily wasn't a fan of. To me, their roster moves were very like. I understand the aggressiveness when you have a rookie quarterback. But the aggressive moves they made were like kind of I'm like, I don't think these guys help you win. Like they're just moves to make. Like I love Von Miller. I think he's one of the greatest edge rushers I've ever seen in my life, and he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. At this time, it's just Von Miller's there for the playoffs, and you can't guarantee that you're going to make the playoffs. Like again, you got older guys like Jonathan Jones, Bobby Wagner. It's like. You traded for Marshawn Lattimore. You gave up your first round pick, and Lattimore just was a disappointment last year in terms of like being like the cornerback number one. We still have to see if Dorrance Armstrong will wake up. Deron Payne. You released Jonathan Allen. The offensive line I felt got worse. Like Brandon Coleman, who you drafted to be a left tackle, you kick him inside guard. Tunsil, who I think is underrated, like I think is a good left tackle, but he has his issues of staying on the field. And then Debo, like we just saw how lethargic Debo looked. Like you could tell, like Debo, like all those years where he was Mr. Do-It-All for like the 49ers and stuff, it caught up to him. Like you could see that he's a step slower. Like he's no longer as productive as what he could be. Like there's a world where Michael Gallup could be the leading receiver for the fucking Commanders. And then it's like, are you really winning football games with like I think Jaden Daniels also too, more tape on him. People are going to be able to watch him more. I do think there is going to be a little bit of a sophomore slump. I don't think he's going to be terrible. I think Jaden Daniels will be a fine player. I do like that, he's a little bit older for being a second-year quarterback. He is like 25-ish or 26-ish or whatever. Like, I think he's going to still play good. It's just I just don't love this roster. I look at this roster and I'm just like,
to me the weak point on the offense isn't even the wide receivers, even without Terry. It's the running back room.
Yeah.
Because Brian Robinson Jr. is a decent running back, but he's not the kind of guy who can end games.
Yeah.
And
he gets hurt too much.
The one thing that the Commanders don't have is a clock killer. You need to have a clock killer, especially in the playoffs. You can't be in situations where you are needing to throw the ball to try to kill the clock and use short passes. Because it's like, Zach Ertz will catch it and then he'll go down, like to get to try to kill the time. But that's not a dependable, reliable thing. And they don't have that between the tackles thumper. Austin Eckler is not that. He never was that.
No.
And Jeremy McNichols, not that. Like they're that in the sense of that's what archetype Jeremy McNichols is, but at the same time, he's not very good at it because if he was, he'd be higher up on the depth chart.
Yeah, no, and then also too, it's like the thing with Kingsbury is just very like I love the resurgence for Kingsbury, but he's also stuck in his ways. He's one of these guys that's
It reminds me of the Mike McDaniel offense.
Yeah, it's like, to me with Kingsbury, he is someone that, well, if it worked last year, it's going to work this year and stuff. And it's like, no, teams now have the tape that you were running and stuff. Like the thing about the Commanders too, there is like that thing where it's like, maybe teams were just like, this team sucks, we are going to kick their asses. And then later on, the Commanders shocked them, and players like we're like, damn, that's Jaden Daniels guy's faster than we thought and stuff. Like they just weren't prepared for the speed that Daniels brought to the table. It's like RG3's first year, where it's just like RG3 was just so athletically gifted. It was just like, holy shit, like this guy is better than we thought, because teams didn't think he was that good. Now teams have tape. They know what Jaden Daniels wants to do. Like some of the stuff that you ran, it won't hit the same. And it's just like one of those things. I just feel like the Commanders is one of those where it's like how many times have they had a successful season back to back too in history? It's like one of those where it's just like they don't this like in the 90s, but we're in the Lord's year of 2000s, 2010s. They've never had back to back successful seasons. And like, and don't get me wrong, I love the Commanders uniforms. I think they're one of the cooler teams in the NFL. Like I root for their success because they've been so miserable in the 2000s and 2010s. They've always had they have a great fan base. I think one of the more underrated fan bases that people don't talk about. Like they play in a shitty stadium, but other than that, they have a great fan base. Like the fan base is great for them and stuff. So to me, I want the Commanders to do well. I just felt like I'm like, dog, I really do think like they're gonna have like a sophomore slump. Like Jaden Daniels is not gonna be like as prolific as he was his rookie year. And then, it's going to lead to like what happened to Stroud, what happened to Herbert, what happens to all these great rookie quarterbacks. It's like, oh, see, they were never that good in the first place. I was always right about this player. And it's like, no, they just have more tape. Like that's just it. And so
let's talk about how we can see that sophomore slump happen, and take a look at their schedule. So, what are the games here that definitely stick out to you as being? You know that now the NFL is going to love making the as long as they're there, Commanders and Bears. They're going to find a way to do Commanders and Bears.
They hope the Commanders and Bears finish in the same spot every year, so that way they can just get these assholes to play each other every year. That's their dream and stuff. And honestly, that Bears game is one of those where you could kind of see that slump and stuff. And let's not forget, Ben Johnson probably has a measure of revenge in his mind, where it's just like, hey, you out on offense, be Cliff. Are you fucking kidding me? Let me show you who's the wizard and stuff. So that game right there, I think that's a really, really big game Monday Night Football for them in terms of conference games. Like I think that one, week 6, that's where we could and we've seen it before. Teams start off hot and then they cool off. That could be a game where it's like, look at the Bears. The Bears were in that situation last year. They started off hot, they lost to the Commanders, and then their season kind of tanked afterwards. That could be the same situation here, where it's like, hey, maybe the Bears are kind of stumbling out the gate. The Commanders start off pretty hot, and then bam. I do like that game against the Chargers, week 5. I think that's like a very, very tough road game for them. One, I don't see Commander fans traveling, so I think that would be one of the few Charger games where actual Charger fans attend. So I think that's like a safe, yeah, we might see more powder blue jerseys in the audience, but also too, it's like, you're facing a much more different LA team than that you've ever faced in the past and stuff. And then you're facing it's kind of like a rematch of like the Pac-12 days of Herbert versus Jaden Daniels. They played against each other in college. But yeah, no, I think that game against the Chargers, that's like a big game too, because that's like a team where it's like, hey, you made it to the NFC title game and you weren't supposed to make it there. Chargers, they weren't even supposed to make it to the playoffs, and they made it to the playoffs. But if you want to see, if you're better than another team that should have made it to where they made it, that's like a really big game. And then Detroit.
Yeah, I'm looking at that 8, 9, 10. Chiefs, Seahawks, Lions.
Yeah, those are big games right there. Yeah, it's like they have a lot of big games this year, the Commanders. They're going to be focused on a lot. So the Lions game, especially because, the Lions definitely want revenge, kind of ruined their dream season. That was like the Lions' dream season. Like we were supposed to get Aiden Hutchinson trying to come back from a torn Achilles in the Super Bowl. Like what?
You've got a situation where you got to play the entire, or is it? Yeah, you're playing the entire NFC North: Packers, Bears, Lions, and Vikings.
Yeah.
And you're also playing the entire AFC West. Which, I mean, granted, we don't know exactly what the Raiders are going to be, but they're going to be better than they were last year.
Well, yeah, it's a tough schedule. It's a tough schedule, and Christmas Day you got to face the Cowboys. Like, you know how that's tough.
That's going to be an interesting one. But you know what? Speaking of Dallas, and who you are saying could steal the division.
No, they are.
I'm gonna let you lead this one off, and you tell me why with some of these roster changes, the Dallas Cowboys are in prime position to steal the NFC East from the Philadelphia Eagles.
The Dallas Cowboys have a really good roster. People just want to shit on them because they're the Cowboys, but this is a good roster. You have a good quarterback in Dak Prescott. You up that offensive line. Now, I forgot which Tyler got hurt. One of the Tylers got hurt. I want to say it was Guyton, yeah, he got hurt, which kind of a blow because he's a good left tackle. But you built up this offensive line. You have two crazy ass wide receivers in CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens.
Did you see the video of them doing the celebration?
Yeah, this is like oh my god, this is like a great. I like them as a receiving core. Hey, maybe Jonathan Mingo wakes up. You guys traded for him. Maybe Jonathan Mingo takes over Jalen Tolbert, and then you just have three athletic freaks at wide receiver just doing a bunch of crazy stuff. Jake Ferguson, I like as a tight end. Defensively, you have one of the best defensive players in the league in Micah Parsons. Linebackers is the only thing like Kenneth Murray sucks. He's horrible. Demarion Overshown, he hasn't really shown much and stuff. Jack Sanborn, another guy where it's like hasn't shown much and stuff. Dante Fowler, I always feel like for whatever reason, when he's paired up with another elite edge rusher, he shows up. He plays good. Malik Hooker has been quietly one of the better safeties in the league. Yeah, people don't talk about him. I think Diggs is going to come back from his injury. Deron Bland has been good. Kyrie Elam was horrible for Buffalo. Like, remember that game? He's the reason why Buffalo didn't make it to the Super Bowl.
So let me ask you this question. Because there's one position that you didn't really talk about.
What position?
And similarly to how we were talking about being able to kill clock, what's going on with this running back room?
Don't worry about that. We don't have to talk. Joe Milton's going to run the ball. It's okay.
Joe Milton's going to be running the ball?
Yeah. Big, strong. I think Miles Sanders and Javonte Williams, I think they're a funny duo. And I think I think Sanders, Carolina was asking too much for him. Javonte Williams, he has his issues. But I do think Sanders will actually be much better with the Dallas Cowboys than what we saw. I'm not saying he's rushing for 1,000 yards, but in terms of screen passes, being a dump off guy, catching the ball, being critical on those third downs, I think he's going to do well for them. I think he's going to do well. I have high hopes for Jaden Blue. I think Jaden Blue will also be a really good player for them. But, I do like what the Cowboys have. Like, the running back position, killing clock. They don't need to kill clock. They're just going to run up the score with CD, George Pickens. Like, that's it. Like, Cowboys are going to be like, you know what? We don't care that we can't kill the clock. We'll just score 30 to 40 points a game and stuff. And then you can, yeah. Hey, if Dak's healthy, they're good.
If it works, it works. Let's look at the schedule and see what teams they're going to be attempting to do this too.
I'm telling you, man, when they're the top team in the NFC East, you're going to be like, wow, Chase was so right about this.
This is not a bad schedule.
It's an easy schedule. That's what
it's not that terrible of a schedule.
Yeah, look at this shit. Like
the Jets, the Panthers, the Cardinals.
And week one, the Super Bowl champs always at a fucking disadvantage. They're going to win that game. That's it and stuff.
I know you're about to like talk yourself into a 17-0 season. Apparently,
I'm looking at the schedule. I don't see any losses. I feel like it's
all right.
I'm not even a Cowboys fan. I can see it. I look at this and I'm like,
you think they're beating the Chargers?
Yeah, they always beat us. We never beat Dallas. When's the last time we beat Dallas?
But who's got it better than you?
The Dallas Cowboys right now, because they're going to go 17-0. No, the Cowboys honestly I look at the schedule and I'm like, bro, they can literally go 13-4, 14-3 with the schedule if they win the games that they should. Like the only games where I'm like, I'm looking at Denver, I'm looking at Kansas City, and I'm looking at Minnesota and Detroit. Those are the games where I'm like, yeah, they can lose those ones. But the rest of the games, I'm like, they can catch Philly early.
Yeah, to me the games that will kind of do the, we say that define the season. It's that 12 to 15 stretch.
Yeah.
Eagles, Chiefs, Lions, Vikings.
Yeah.
Like, yes, the Chargers, of course. Like, I'm not discounting the Chargers, but
against Dallas, we always struggle.
But it's not even that. It's that those are 4 powerhouse teams, and 3 of them are NFC teams. So, like, from the perspective of standings in the NFC,
yeah,
you gotta, and the Chiefs are just the Chiefs. You gotta kind of prove that you can beat the Chiefs. So that's a stretch to me that I'm like, okay. So then now let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Schottenheimer. What's the
underrated, bro? I think people are shitting on him way too hard. Once people were shitting on him, I knew it. I was like, bro, this is just like McCarthy again. People shitted on the McCarthy hire, and then he led them to the promised land of the playoffs. Look, I'm telling you, they're going to do good. They're going to win the East. They'll get eliminated in the divisional. That's it. I'm not saying they're making the Super Bowl. I'm just being realistic of the Eagles are going to take a step back. They're going to have a harder schedule, the Eagles. Not only are they going to be facing all the first-place teams in the NFC, they will have to go against the AFC West squads. That's going to be tough matches for them. I don't know who they have at home or where they're traveling to. I know that they're going to travel to Los Angeles. That's one of the games I look to attend this year. Mm-hmm. But, I just look at the Cowboys schedule. I'm like, bro, they could kick the Panthers' ass. They could kick the Jets' ass. They could kick the Bears' ass. They could kick the Cardinals' ass. They could kick, like all the Raiders' ass. Like, they're gonna just get these wins that don't matter, and then like they'll struggle. In that stretch you talk about, they'll lose to the Eagles. The Chiefs game, it's going to be some hilarity. That game is going to be like the funniest game of the season. Chiefs Devil Magic will win, but then against Detroit on Thursday night, short week. Detroit's also going to be on a short week. Who knows? Detroit will probably have like cajillion injuries at that point. And then Cowboys beat the Lions, and everyone's like, oh, my God, the Cowboys, he just beat the Lions. And then they go to Minnesota. They have Minnesota and the Chargers at home. They beat them. They have a short game against Washington, but Washington's also going to be there. And then
if there was a way I could have you do this in the Skip Bayless voice, I would.
I wish I could do. I don't know if I can do a Skip Bayless, to be honest. Like, I'm just telling you, I'm being realistic about this. Like, people.
Listen, I'm not saying anything bad in that sense about the Dallas Cowboys. What I'm looking at is just the Philadelphia Eagles being who they are.
Yeah, and we know who Sirianni is sometimes, the idiot.
That's fair.
I don't see them repeating.
I don't see like a world where the Eagles take that far of a step back that they're losing.
No, they're facing a lot of tougher games. The Cowboys, they have to face the Panthers, like they're like, and the Jets. Like, I'm looking at it, the Cowboys the Cowboys are not going to win the meaningful game. Like, their first meaningful win will be against the Eagles. Then they will beat the Giants. Then against the Bears, that'll be a very close game, but they'll etch that one out. Then against the Packers, somehow, some way, that'll be like the big blowout game. CeeDee Lamb goes for like 152 yards and 3 touchdowns.
It'll be another Dez caught it.
Yeah, and then at the Jets, they beat them. At the Panthers, they beat them. The Commanders, that'll be like the big game. Everyone's like, oh, this. And then they beat the Commanders. Struggle against Denver because they have to travel to Mile High. Arizona, they beat them. Go on the bye. Beat the Raiders. Lose to the Eagles, lose to the Chiefs, beat the Lions on Thursday night, and then they went out. And then it's just like, oh, and then people will be like, oh, wow, the Cowboys, they're a great team and stuff. And then people will be like, well, yeah, but they didn't beat a lot of winning teams this year.
But you're also having them beat the team. You're also having them beat teams that they're going to see in the playoffs.
Yeah, because
why are you saying they're going to lose the divisional round?
They're facing the Eagles week 1. The Eagles are not going to be all prepared for week 1. They're facing Detroit on a short week.
I know, but what I'm saying is, with that mentality, you're also saying that they're going to lose the divisional round.
Yeah,
but part of this is having them play teams that they would see in the playoffs.
Yeah, but they're going to lose to them in the playoffs because that's how they will operate. I'm telling you, they're going to beat whoever they have to face in the wild card, and then everyone's going to be like, "Oh, yeah, Cowboys, great." Then they go to the divisional. And then the Lions kicked their ass there, or the Niners kicked their ass, or the Eagles kicked their ass there.
I'm just already anticipating the Dallas Cowboy think pieces after the season when they're like, "What do the Cowboys have to do? Do they just need a great running back?"
Yeah, they'll say, "Should we trade Dak? Should we do this?" And I'm gonna be like, "Look, guys, this is your life. Just deal with it. It's always gonna be like this. You're gonna have a year of hope, and then 2 years of misery." and then a year of hope again. This is your year of hope. You just get to have hope this year. You guys get to believe Dak will be MVP and all that other stuff, stat pad and all that other crap, and it's awesome. But you'll win the division. But it's just like, hey, good luck. You got to go face the wildcard team.
Well, if we are not anticipating the Giants being contenders for that division leader, and we already talked about the Commanders, that leaves only one team to hold Chase's Cowboys. That's, as I'm now calling them, the Chase Cowboys away from the divisional leadership, the divisional championship, and that is, of course, the Philadelphia Eagles, the reigning and defending division champions. This is a team that is, at least right now, bringing back all of their starters. And this has been a fascinating build to watch. Howie Roseman basically go, is that a Georgia player available in the draft on defense? He's mine. And from there to kind of just trust that Jalen Hurts is going to be able to manage the situation. And then you gave them Saquon Barkley looking rejuvenated behind that offensive line. It's amazing what can happen if you invest money in an offensive line. And of course, there's all that talk about the tush push and all that kind of stuff. But this is a squad that can definitely get to the Super Bowl again. And there's not really that much that has changed for them. They've lost some things, but they've also gained a lot. And they've did some pretty smart drafts choices, a lot of it on defense. You can see there's very little on offense, mainly 5th and 6th rounders. But everything else is really built around that, shoring up more of that defense and just keep loading, and learning how to be able to swap people in and out and basically play situational football. If there's one thing that the Eagles have done very well, it's play situational football and know how and when to be blitzing and how and when to be bringing pressure to a team. And I got to give a lot of credit to that defensive coordinator, and that's Vic Fangio. And Vic Fangio's defenses always have been really great. And the one thing that he had to hang his hat on when he was Denver's head coach was the Denver defense. And he was a terrible head coach. I mean, I wasn't too upset with him, but he was a great defensive-minded head coach, and he's brought that mentality to Philly with that defense. So I want to ask you, in this situation, because they are so stacked, who are players that you think could potentially be liabilities versus players that normally I'm asking you who you think are going to be difference makers? Here I'm interested to see who are the liabilities, because we're not expecting A.J. Brown or Devonta Smith to have great receiving yards, because we're not expecting Jalen Hurts to have to throw the ball that much. Yeah. We're expecting him to run it. We're expecting Saquon Barkley to run it, and that defense to play really good ball control offense and play ball control defense. So in those kind of situations, they have the ability to kind of get into shootouts, but they don't have as much practice getting into shootouts because they're playing from ahead so much. So here, I'm interested to see who you think are going to be potential liabilities for the team for this year.
Yeah, I think Sidney Brown could be a liability, not having Gardner Johnson back there at the strong safety position, where it just seems like that's his team. He plays great under the Eagles, and then every other team he just seems to disappoint. But Sidney Brown, he could be a liability in that back end of the thing. Maybe Quinyon Mitchell, Mitchell, he got some pass interferences on him a lot of the times. Maybe he also could be a liability entering his second year. Same with Cooper DeJean. Maybe they're not as good as they were their rookie year. Those are liabilities that I look at on defense. Their defensive line stacked. They are probably one of the best defensive lines in terms of depth and all the NFL and stuff. And then offensively, they have one of the best offensive lines, top to bottom and stuff. Tyler Steen is probably the only liability, but that's your only liability. That's a pretty good liability and stuff. And wide receiver 3, just figure out who's not Jahan Dotson. Yeah. How hope for him. Just didn't pan out. Running backs, it's more of Saquon has the banged up things. You don't really have much behind him,
Yeah.
AJ Dillon.
Well, I mean, there was some real high hopes, especially coming out during the draft for Will Shipley. And then people were like, oh, he was going to Philly. He's not going to get that much run.
Yeah. He's cool, but he's not Saquon. AJ Dillon is AJ Dillon. Like, you know what he is. He
Yeah,
always gets a good Madden card every year in Ultimate Team, Quadzilla.
that's true.
Yeah, but yeah, no, not a lot of holes. I just don't think they're going to win the division because Cowboys are going to stat pad their wins and win the division, and the Eagles still have like tough losses that'll kind of hurt them, but they'll still be a team that can make the Super Bowl. Like I think Bills Eagles. That's a great Super Bowl to have this year.
So let's take a look at that schedule.
Yeah, like fuck is this? Face the Cowboys, Chiefs, Rams, and Buccaneers and Broncos. The first 5 weeks. You telling me that like the Cowboys can't stat pad when they're facing the Jets and the Panthers, and then the fucking Eagles got to face this hellish schedule? Like, that's what I was saying. I'm not saying the Eagles are bad. It's just I can't see them repeating the division because they have a tough schedule where it's like the Cowboys. It's like, okay, cool. You get to face them at home, but week 1 is always kind of like a weird week and it's wonky and stuff.
Right,
Kansas City, you have to go to Arrowhead, and you know those fans and the devil magic there. The Rams are going to have a chip on their shoulder. Tampa, Tampa beat you early last year. Tampa was like that team.
Let's compare this to last year. Last year they had to play the Packers, they had to play the Falcons.
Yeah, and that turf almost killed them.
They played the Bucks. They played the Bengals. They also played the Rams, the Ravens, the Steelers. They won almost all of those games.
Yeah, and they lost to the Falcons. Like you're telling me they
can't. At one point.
They still lost to the Falcons.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you, but I'm saying that was a situation where like that's basically a kick goes the wrong way.
Yeah, well, this to me is more of a hellish schedule than that because this is just a lot tougher, man. Like you got to face a lot. Like before your bye, like you're only like, to be honest, the 2 New York games are the only games where I'm like, yeah, they'll win those. But Minnesota, I don't know. Like, what if JJ McCarthy's lighting up the league? You know, could be possible. Justin Jefferson. Oh, you know, he gets up. If he's like a corner that he loves, Justin Jefferson becomes a different player. Like he literally goes like, oh, I love that Quinyon Mitchell. I'm gonna fuck him up. I want to prove I'm the greatest of all time. Like he's that kind of psycho. Denver's not an easy win. Like Denver's gonna be scrappy.
No, I'm not saying there are, but
yeah, that's not an easy. Tampa beat you last year in the same situation. Early in the season, Tampa was like, "Fuck you." The Rams, you know, Sean McVay's ready for that game. He wants revenge too, because it's like that's not fair. It was snowing when you guys played. Now play on a turf where it's not snowing, and you want to show what's up. Kansas City, like I said, you got to go to Arrowhead week 2, like. And then what if you lose to the Cowboys? It's like, damn, not only lose to the Cowboys, you have to go face the devil magic that is the Chiefs. And who knows how the Chiefs are coming off of Brazil. Like, who knows? Maybe the turf eats Mahomes' leg or something. Who knows? And stuff. But yeah, no, it's a tougher schedule. And then week 11, you got to, like, coming out the bye, you got to face the Packers, Lions, and then the Cowboys again. Like, not easy. And then, you know, we talked about the Bills game, and that might be just Mitchell Trubisky versus, but who knows? Maybe it is Josh versus Jalen, and who knows? But yeah, no, I just think it's going to be a tough to repeat this division. I can't see a world where they win the division with the schedule. It's like Cowboys have cupcakes. They have a tougher schedule. They'll make the playoffs. They'll make a run. I trust them to make a run in the playoffs, but I just think the schedule is just so rough.
I mean, I can see why you think that, and I agree with you. But to me, it's like just there were plenty of games where it was just that all of a sudden Saquon Barkley just hits a 70-yard rushing touchdown. Yeah. And it's like, okay, now we got to go try to score against this defense again. And the problem was, like, unlike the Dolphins, where it's like, yeah, we have this home run ability. The Dolphins didn't have the defense the same way that the Eagles have the defense. That's I think is the difference, is that they have the ability to play very close games and keep that score low. Like if you look at like last year, there were plenty of games where they were not allowing a large number of points. Like, yes, they allowed, so like this is the number of points they were allowing: 29, 22, 12, 33, 16, 3, 17, 23, 6, 18, 20, 19, 16, 13, 36, 7, 13. And those are against a lot of the same teams that we're looking at right now. So that, like, to me, I'm looking at it, I'm going, yeah, if you can get, like, granted, maybe you don't get the 70-yard rushing touchdown, and it's a 35-yard rush, and then a 12-yard pass to A.J. Brown, but you're going to score. And once you score, that defense has the ability to just sit there and go, it's going to be a 3-and-out, buddy. Jalen's getting the ball back. And that's, I think, to me, is what makes the difference for them. Like, it's similar to Denver, in that Denver has that defense now that can stop teams. And then it's just like, yeah, now granted, completely different offensive setups, right? The Denver offense is nowhere near as good as the Philly offense is right now. But you're giving opportunities. And as long as Hurts and Saquon and them have opportunities, that, I think, is why they can take the division again.
Yeah, they're gonna fuck it up somehow. I don't believe anything you said just there. I'm literally just like, yeah, no, I'm still with my Cowboys. I got my boys winning it this year, and stuff. Everyone gonna be on the Dak train. Dak for MVP. Oh my God, Cowboys are the greatest team. And then they'll lose to the Eagles in the divisional round when the Eagles make in the second round. They face the Cowboys, and then the Eagles win, and then everyone's like, oh wow, what do you know?
But alrighty, guys, this has been our preview of the AFC East and the NFC East. And Chase, we have two regions of the country left to talk about. We have the North, AFC North, NFC North, and we have the West, the AFC West, NFC West. You tell me, sir, which one you would like to go with next.
Man, let's go West next. Like the North is really good, both divisions. So that's going to be more fun to talk about. The West, like, it's like, I don't want to talk about the Raiders for too long. The Raiders and the NFC West, and we have to talk about the most disappointing team of all time, the Cardinals. Like, fuck those guys. Like,
come on, man, Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to be amazing this year.
Did you see Will Johnson? Jesus Christ, man, they got him in the second round, and he's locking up Marvin Harrison Jr. I was like, Jesus Christ, dude. Like, everyone's like, oh, that AC. Like, I don't know. I'm one of those people where it's like, I really don't care about the player's injury history. Just have the guy on the roster, for fuck's sakes. Like, if he looks like he's going to be a stud, just draft him.
That's a motto to live by. But, ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you once again for tuning in. As always, Chase, tell the people where they can find you, sir.
Yeah, you can follow me on X at ChaseOliver68. If you guys like wrestling, tonight Steve and I are going to predict the 2-night extravaganza known as the SummerSlam and stuff that's going to be taking place this weekend. So we'll be predicting that on the Around the Point Network. And then I think Sunday, Romeo's doing a watch along. I'll be on the Sunday portion for SummerSlam. I got to watch the Tribal Chief in my own element, acknowledge him every minute. You're
gonna be so you or Steve or both are picking Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker, right?
No one's picking that. They're jobbers. I'm not picking the Oompa Loompa and the.
No, can you imagine how tired Jay's gonna be? He's got to do his whole entrance, and then he's got to work most of the match because Roman's not working that match.
Like, my Tribal Chief doesn't need to work the whole match. I mean, he literally does. He's doing all the work. He's the reason why the building's selling out. Like, before Roman, struggling to sell tickets, and then after Roman, the ticket sales just went up. It's just that's the power of my Tribal. The Tribal Chief's presence is good enough for SummerSlam. Like, we don't need to see Roman wrestling. Like, all Roman got to do is just his usual Roman spots. Samoan drop, the drive-by if he feels like it. The ooh-ah, the spear, it's fine. He doesn't need to wrestle anymore. He's great. He's the goal. He's the goal for a reason. Like, he works smarter, not harder. Like, Jay, look, Jay needs to show he can. If he wants to become main event 2-time, he has to work in the ring. And Jay works well with Braun Breaker. They've never had a bad match. Bronson Reed spot. I like Bronson Reed a lot. Like, I think that's gonna be a good match, good tag match. But yeah, no, Roman Reigns is winning. It's greatest paycheck of all time. And then next Monday on Raw, he'll get ridden off, and we won't see him again until
Survivor Series.
Yeah, they'll be like, "You want me in a War Games, Roman?" Sure, I'll be in a War Games. And then afterwards, we won't see him again until, hey, you want to try to Saudi? Yeah, I'll do that. And then after that, it'll be like, "Hey, Roman, we're going to some odd country for Elimination Chamber. We're going to that." Nah. I'll be back for Mania. And then he'll come back from it. This is the Roman side. Guys, We're only getting Roman for the big four. The only other pay-per-view he might show up is Money in the Bank because it's a big fight. They consider that a big show now. And so that's it. And if you guys are mad at that, I'm sorry. To quote Roman Reigns, that he told, this is my favorite thing. Carl Anderson did JBL's podcast, and I only listened to it because I heard this Roman Reigns quote. And whenever I see like a podcast interview with like just like one quote, I need to listen to the full thing because I need the full context and stuff. Like you can quote that one thing, but in this interview, Carl Anderson said that a wrestler was complaining about not having first class and that the seats were too cramped. Yeah. And Roman Reigns went up to him in the baggage scene and said, either put it in your contract or quit bitching. So lessons learned, kids. Either put in your contract, quit bitching. If you're tired that the tribal chief disappears, hey, it's in his contract. He worked for that contract. He got that contract. It's in his He's showing up with appearances he needs to make. I don't know what you want from my tribal chief. He's done enough already for us. He's got WWE Raw on Netflix. He's done everything. Like this whole industry changed when my tribal chief was champion. Like look at the stars my tribal chief made. He made main event Jey Uso. He made Solo Sikoa. He made Jacob Fatu. He made Sami Zayn. He made Kevin Owens. He made Drew McIntyre. He revitalized the career of Seth Rollins and CM Punk. Like he made Cody Rhodes into the biggest face. Like I'm just telling you guys, like I don't understand, like how you guys don't understand this, the levels that he's done. Like, dude, he had no reason to main event night one WrestleMania, but because he's the tribal chief, he forced them to main event and gave CM Punk his main event. And what a benevolent king! Like instead of putting himself over, he let Seth get put over and stuff, and now Seth is the top heel and stuff. Like. I'm just saying, you know, Roman Reigns, he works miracles on everyone in this sport of professional wrestling, and we should be all happy that, you know, John. A lot of people said he was a heel when he came back. I said he was the greatest babyface I've ever seen because he uplifted his family and made his family better. And people were saying, "Oh, he was gaslight." Yeah, tough love. You never heard of that shit? Sorry, he had to do the necessary things. Like what? Just because he was beating up your favorites and Daniel Bryan and Edge, he was a bad person. Like,
who's a better motivator? Roman Reigns, as we have seen with the Bloodline, or Jim Harbaugh and the Chargers.
It's Roman Reigns, man. Like Jim can't get everyone to, you know, believe in the Harbaugh way. Like Jim tells his goofy stories. Like, yeah, you know, I was in the back of the truck. And my dad would just say, "Who got it better than us?" Nobody. And not everyone's gonna buy into that.
The reason,
Roman Reigns.
The reason why I would pick Roman Reigns over Jim Harbaugh.
Why?
I think Roman Reigns could get Quentin Johnson to learn how to catch.
Yeah, I believe so too. If he just be like, "Why are you so ass? Can you just do this, do this, and you'll catch the ball." You're not listening to me. I'm over here. I'm trying to help you. And you're just over here dropping the ball like this.
I will say one of my favorite Romanisms is when he'll say a sentence and then end with that's like, oh, that's what we're doing now, huh? That part, I'm like, this is fucking amazing.
My favorite Roman line of all time, he goes, "Life is good. Life is good. My health is good. Hey, guys, God woke me up so I can handle anything." I was just like, oh my God. The best. When he was all like after the Logan Paul thing, he's like, "I'm tired of being humble. I'm tired of disrespect. Not a man alive can touch my button." And I was just like, talk your shit, tribal chief. Like, it's so funny when you watch Roman Reigns, like the Roman Reigns when he was like, "You're nothing but a sniveling sucker full of supper and succotash, son." And now it's like this tribal chief Roman Reigns. He's like smiling his veneers. He's like, "Hey, this guy was a loser before he came to me." It's like a night. It's two different performers. It's just like,
it's great.
Who the fuck was the big dog? Like that dude is like, you. When I see Big Dog Roman, I'm just like, this is not the same wrestler. Like this is literally like. This guy was in TNA wasting his life away. This Roman Reigns that came back, wreck everyone and leave, like, oh, the greatest of all time. He's my favorite wrestler, like, of all time. Like, it's not even close. Like, not even close. Like, everyone's like, what? How? It's like, guys, the miracles this man has worked and the shitty modern WWE is just amazing. Like, the fact that he's who he is now is just Chef's kiss. This is like when like Roman Reigns is like that quarterback. Like, who's a good quarterback comparison to Roman Reigns, where it's like they were just mediocre for most of their career, and then one day they just like blew up. Like Roman Reigns is like Jared Goff, where it's just like, Jared Goff was kind of.
But Roman's been winning some things.
Yeah, like
Jared's winning in his marriage.
Yeah, I can't think of like Goff is the only one that comes into mind, just because it's like just mediocre. And like he was like being like touted as one of the top quarterbacks because it was like, oh, he's a number one draft pick.
Would also be a good comparison.
Who?
Matt Stafford.
Oh, I think Stafford would be a good comparison. Like being highly touted.
Stafford.
I think Stafford's a better comparison.
Think about it. Matt Stafford leaves Detroit, goes to LA. Sean McVay is the wise man.
Yeah, and then also too, it's like Stafford being touted, one of the best quarterbacks in the league, 5,000 yards. I mean, hell, how many times have we had a debate on this channel? Is Stafford a Hall of Famer and stuff? And then like, Roman Reigns, it's like, oh shit, Roman Reigns, he's cool. Yeah, he main event all these WrestleManias, but we don't really like the guy. Like, he's cool. And then Stafford wins the Super Bowl, and now people have this newfound love for Stafford, and they're like, yeah, he's sick. Stafford's always been great. And the only difference is that Stafford's whole run in LA hasn't been like how Roman Reigns' run as a tribal chief. Or like tribal chief Roman. It was just like, bro, you got me to care about a match with fucking Jey Uso in the pandemic. Like, I was not even excited. And then you got me excited for a match. Like, Jey Uso won. I'm like, dude, this is fucking horrible. And then somehow, some way, Roman's like, you're not supposed to be here, Jey. Just give up. I'm like, what is this guy? Roman Reigns from 2020 to 2021. That's his best in-ring work of all time. Like that, he was on another level in-ring wise at that time, where he was just doing like guillotine rollovers. Like he had a match with Danielson, and I'm just like, I didn't know Roman Reigns could mat wrestle like this. Like, what the fuck is this? He was so good. Now he's not as good in the ring. But from 2020 to 2021, I put Roman Reigns like man, that was like one of the best in-ring workers in the talking the shit and stuff. The Kevin Owens match, like he was good. And it's just like now he realized I just have to do my 5 moves, cock the fist, pound it, Superman punch, ooh-ah, and I'm good. I don't have to do anything else. Like, it's the GOAT. He's the GOAT, man. I can't wait till he wins his title back. It's gonna be great. OTC 1. We don't need a QB 1. We have OTC 1. That's all that matters.
All righty, guys. Take it easy, and we'll catch you on the flip side. And remember, take care of yourselves and each other, and we will catch you all later.